matter after they were refused direct access in the Constitutional Court in July, and it was dismissed for a lack of urgency in September. The party and its leader, former President Jacob Zuma, argued that President Cyril Ramaphosa acted unlawfully following allegations of corruption in the country's justice system. Khomotso Modisa reports.
While the MK party had challenged the decision to place Senzo Mchunu on special leave, saying the president only has power to hire and fire members of the executive, Ramaphosa's lawyers had argued that he has implied powers to suspend or place on special leave. In the latest judgment, the full bench in the Pretoria High Court has ruled that to fire Mchunu outright based on untested allegations could be assailed as irrational. They say there must be power to protect the public's confidence in the executive and to investigate whether there are grounds for a dismissal. While the MK also argued against the Madlanga Commission, saying the judiciary, which is implicated in wrongdoing, is investigating itself, the court has ruled that the president rationally applied his mind in the establishment of the commission, and it is a decision that cannot be faulted from a point of legality and rationality. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
Anti-corruption civil society bodies are calling for an independent whistleblowing agency and the mandatory protections of their families. Stellenbosch University's Anti-Corruption Centre yesterday held the first Babita Deokaran Memorial Lecture on World Anti-Corruption Day. The Inclusive Society Institution and the Organisation Undoing Tax Abuse bemoaned inadequate legislation to protect whistleblowers. Deokaran was killed outside her home 4 years ago after uncovering dodgy tenders at Tembisa Hospital. On Friday, Marius van der Merwe met the same fate after just recently testifying anonymously at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Outer Chief Executive Officer Wayne Duvenage has warned that unless the protection framework is tightened, van der Merwe won't be the last whistleblower to pay with his life. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Living in perpetual fear and trepidation, Outer's Wayne Duvenage says this is the experience of all whistleblowers because the system is failing those who work for good while favouring corrupt networks. He says since the Zondo Commission of Inquiry recommended a whistleblowing agency, there's been no reform.
Protecting whistleblowers is not a charity. It is the very foundation of a functioning democracy.
Meanwhile, Inclusive Society Institute CEO Daryl Swanepoel says Babita Deokaran's death was as a result of inadequate legislation.
South Africa's whistleblower regime has become little more than a paper armour. It is outdated, underfunded, inconsistently implemented, and deeply disconnected from the lived realities of whistleblowers who challenge well-organised corruption.
Swanepoel is calling for a secure digital reporting mechanism that protects identity and protection of all whistleblowers within 72 hours of making a disclosure. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
To address its ongoing financial woes, the ANC says it's looking at creative ways to generate revenue and become financially stable. The party's financial report has recently been tabled before its 5th National General Council, currently taking place at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg. While the report is confidential, the party's financial difficulties are not, with persistent late or non-payment of its employee salaries and service providers taking the party to court over unpaid invoices. Tabiso Goba takes a look.
Statistically, the ANC is the biggest party in the country, with more members and elected public representatives than any other party. However, the latest political funding report shows the EFF makes more money than the ANC from membership fees and levies. Levies are charged to members deployed to represent the party, either in municipal councils, provincial legislatures and the National Assembly. ANC national spokesperson Mahlengi Pengu was asked whether the party is considering raising its levy as one of its strategies to increase its revenue.
Our public deployees are levied by the ANC and are levied reasonably so that they themselves can be able to feed their families.
Pengu says the introduction of the Political Party Funding Act, which requires political organization to disclose their funders, has negatively impacted the ANC. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And thousands of people have fled the Democratic Republic of Congo to neighboring Burundi to escape M23 fighters who've entered the key city of Uvira. The Rwanda-backed fighters entered the strategic strategic border town after the US and European powers urged the M23 to immediately halt its offensive and for Rwanda to pull its troops out of the eastern DRC. As the M23 appears to seize the last major settlement in South Kivu province, it is yet to capture scores of Congolese soldiers mingled among the civilians fleeing to Burundi. The renewed violence undermined an agreement aiming to end the conflict brokered by US President Donald Trump and which Kinshasa and Kigali signed less than a week ago. Gold is trading at $4,201.55 an ounce. The rand is at 17.04 to the dollar, 22.67 to the pound, 19.82 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $61.94 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got some delays reported along the N1 North between the Golden Highway and the Diepkloof interchange. The Golden Highway in itself is backed up approaching the N1 due to roadworks.
And in your sport, less than 2 months to the T20 World Cup, and the Proteas are thrashed by India by 101 runs in the first T20. In the Champions League, Liverpool won to ease the pressure on manager Arne Slot. There was also victories for Barcelona, Bayern and Spurs, while Chelsea lost.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg starting at 15 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 17 and 28. Vereeniging 17 as well, and a high of 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The High Court in Pretoria has dismissed the MK Party's bid to challenge the suspension of Senzo Mchunu as police minister and the establishment of the Madlanga Commission.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's walk the talk. 8 minutes after 6 o'clock. There's an energy, there's a buzz. There's even a current, I would say, as soon as I press that button to say good morning to you wherever you are listening to 702 Land. Welcome to the show. We're thrilled to be with you for the next 3 hours. On our menu today, Benin's not even 24-hour putsch. Soldiers going on live TV saying we're in charge. The president is out. Other soldiers loyal to the regime saying no, 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 no. And by Sunday evening, the president was back on television saying everything is under control. What does it mean for a country long regarded as one of the most stable democracies in West Africa? We'll speak to Dr. Charles Singala, who is an international relations expert. Menzi Simelane, you'll remember him. He was the Director General under Justice Minister Brigitte Mabandla. And it was his letter that informed her decision and the president's decision to get rid of Vusi Pikoli, all of which was tested out at the Genwala inquiry, which then found Menzi Simelane to be less than honest in his answers and in his representations. Moreover, it found that his conduct amounted to executive interference. Now, is that the kind of person you want as your next director of public prosecutions? Somebody who doesn't mind executive interference with the independence of the NPA? Let's talk.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The other hot topic, we've told you about it in the last couple of weeks, but today it takes effect. In Australia, from today, if you are under 16, no YouTube for you, no Facebook for you, no TikTok, no Snapchat, no Instagram. You cannot be on social media as an under 16. If you're a parent listening to us in your car, at the gym, maybe you're in your kitchen, lazily stirring your cup of tea or cup of coffee, what do you think of that? Do you think that that's something we should try and imitate here in South Africa? Have you seen what kids post on social media? The viral videos of bullying, the viral videos of kids engaging in nocturnal activities. You know what I mean. The viral videos where kids spend hours scrolling. Have you noticed that a lot of teenagers don't necessarily even, if they've got a smartphone, they're not watching television. If a teenager has a smartphone, they would rather sit there scrolling for hours, talking to their friends, rather than sitting and watching, I don't know, let's say The Voice, right? This is The Voice. Remember we used to watch that as families in the 90s, in the early 2000s, in the early 2010s, perhaps even? Not any longer. If you're a parent, you know how you have to threaten and bribe and cajole your teenager into just sitting around the table with you as a family, because otherwise they're glued to that little thing. So, should we say, like the Aussies are doing, no social media? Or do you think that, in some sense, it would be an easy get-out-of-jail card for parents who are abdicating their responsibilities towards their children in terms of guiding them when it comes to the use of social media? Or do you feel sympathy for the parent who doesn't even know where to begin? If you think, even if you are friends on social media or you follow each other, whatever the correct term is for whatever platform you're on with your kids, if you think that means you've now got full line of sight of whatever it is that they're doing, think again. I often get told, I posted this on my main, and then I posted that on my spam, right? Some of the conversations will be, but I even posted on my main, and now this person, is not being nice to me. I mean, I had put this person in such an elevated place that I posted them on my main. And you are sitting there as a parent going, there's a main? Right? They have several Instagram accounts. And only a select few may know 1 or 2 or 3. Almost nobody knows all 7. But them. And they decide what they expose you as a parent. And you think we've had the talk. Or do you just talk to your kids, engage with them as best as you can, and hope for the best? Is that the lazy way out? That's a conversation that I think is very, very important. We'll speak to Sarah Hoffman, who's a social media lawyer, after 7 o'clock about that as well. And then just before 9, the Joburg Zoo will be transformed into a glowing holiday wonderland. It's time for the Festival of Lights.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
That's on our menu today. I'm not alone, of course, as always. I've got my colleagues with me. There's a whole team behind the scenes, and we're still live on YouTube, so you can catch us on our streaming there. But Sfisa Zulu gives you the latest news updates, as you've just heard. Amo is on traffic. We've got KG at the desk. Muteo Haripe is on business, and Rupfiwa and Siamtanda are the producers taking your calls. Cindy Paluta returns with sports news, and of course Garabo does all our social media content.
Let's walk the talk.
7:02.
All right, so the colleagues in the studio behind the mics are both parents, so I'll start with the two of you. Mutero, let's not make it a ladies first today. What do you think? Social media bans for kids under 16, yay or nay?
I think it's a yay for me, and I'm just basing this with my experience with my nephews, who are now 15 and 18. And their mom always calls me around, because they're both boys. They're like, what am I going to do with these guys? And I told them, look, I set them down. I was like, let's delay the social media thing. We are going to get you phones, but they're not the most state-of-the-art phones. It's almost like a burner phone, if you will. And delay you being on social media, having accounts, and until it's such a time that you can think for yourself.
You believe they listened?
No, I don't believe they listened, because one of them had a TikTok account, which I found out about, and it was a face of a whole different guy, but I'm a bit more savvy than you thought.
Easily fooled.
Yeah, so
here's the difficulty, Mutero. I understand about the phones, but remember, many of these kids, especially in the more better resourced schools, shall we say, things like smart tablets are part of how they learn and how they study. One of the extraordinary things, by the way, it just popped into my head. I almost don't buy. I can't remember the last textbook I bought.
Because everything is on.
Because everything is digital.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So with a device like that, how do you prevent, if your perspective is wait till later? How do you prevent them from having fake accounts?
Well, I know the school devices which they also use are protected, but the devices that are at home should be managed. You still have to parent. Whether you can go through the talk with them or get apps like Bark, so to protect them online, but you still have to parent and tell them what are the dangers of being online and not being
All right.
responsible.
So whose decision must that be? Yours as a parent, or can government step in and say, actually, nationwide ban social media platforms? If you don't comply, we'll fine you?
I think both. I think there should be action from both.
All right. Amo?
I do think the law makes it more easier for parents and communities in general to be able to follow. You know what I mean? I remember when we were growing up, there were years when where parents or older people were able to send us to buy alcohol or cigarettes, right? But when it was law that no child should be sent to buy or should be seen holding a bottle of alcohol or cigarettes, it was even more protected by parents and the community at large. So I think it makes it more like it holds water if it's by the law. Yeah.
Well, I want you to listen to the Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese explaining why it is in his country children under 16 will no longer be able to create social media accounts as of today.
Hi there, students. It's the Prime Minister here, and I want to speak to you directly about something very important. From December 10, if you're under 16, you're no longer allowed to have a social media account. You'll know better than anyone what it's like growing up with algorithms, endless speeds, and the pressure that can come with that. That's why we've taken this step to support you. If you have questions, by all means, reach out. Talk to your parents, your teachers, and your friends. And if you feel like you need more support, Headspace and Kids Helpline is there to assist. Above all, make the most of the school holidays coming up rather than spending it scrolling on your phone. Start a new sport, learn a new instrument, or read that book that has been sitting there on your shelf for some time. And importantly, spend quality time with your friends and your family, face to face. Have a great summer.
Does that sound like a leader who really understands the pressures on young people to be in this digital world? Is he fighting against a tide that is just too powerful, right? Is he trying to win a battle that he cannot win? CNN, by the way, spoke to a couple of Australian teenagers, Noah and Macy, who have gone to court, presumably with the support of their parents, to challenge this new law. And this is their perspective. These were teenagers who spoke to CNN's Angus Watson.
Taking away how we communicate to the world, this is how we do it. It's the modern day. It's social media.
We will lose connections, but we will lose our democracy. This law is saying that democracy begins at 16, which is condescending and it's incorrect.
Listen, there are definitely negatives on social media. I'm not denying that. I completely agree. We're saying that getting rid of the kids is not the solution. We didn't do anything wrong.
We didn't do anything wrong. This is about freedom of speech. This is how we communicate. This is our world. We don't play next door, they argue. I'm not friends with you because your house happens to be next to mine. I'm friends with you because we are friends. And that world has shrunk. We could be in different countries and be besties and be in communication every day. That's what social media has allowed today's young people. And if you take that away, you're going to be the one in trouble. What are your thoughts? 072-702-1702. Send us a WhatsApp voice note. We still welcome your live calls, by the way, on 011-8830-702.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
702. Let's walk the talk.
20 after 6 o'clock, the High Court in Pretoria dismissing Mkhonto Wesizwe, that party's bid to challenge the suspension of Senzo Mchunu as police minister and even the establishment of the Madlanga Commission. This as the party faces a third loss as far as this matter is concerned. Remember, of course, they were refused direct access by the Constitutional Court in July, and they were dismissed on that account for a lack of urgency in September. The party and its leader, former President Jacob Zuma, arguing that President Ramaphosa acted unlawfully following allegations of corruption in the country's justice system. We'll keep an eye on that one for you.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
All right, Mateo Kharipa, you've got a question of your own?
Interesting one this morning. I might even start a bit of a debate, but here goes. If someone asks you to take them to your favorite pizza place or order in, which pizza brand are you choosing?
Someone from another country, perhaps?
Even one of your friends. Just your favorite pizza place.
And it's you. And it's you.
Simple as that.
No doubt. Not a second thought. Not a fly in the soup, not a finger in the pie.
They make the best pizzas. I did say to Muteo earlier when we were talking about this that they really do. But for me, because I'm not so much a pizza person, I prefer other things for takeouts. But I would also vouch for Panarotis.
Oh, yes. Panarotis?
Okay.
Panarotis, yes. Panarotis and Nandicho, yes, absolutely.
So those are your favorites.
Top of mind, yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm asking.
What's the question?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
7:02.
Weather.
22 after 6, this EWN weather brought to you by Samsung. Rain or sunshine, choose your temperature with Samsung air conditioners. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng today. Still afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures a little lower today. 26 is your high in Joburg, 28 for Pretoria, 27 for V-Town, for anything that is. A fine day for Cape Town, 31 degrees, so it should be a lovely day in Cape Town. Bombela also 33 degrees. Durban, 23, that's the same for Gqeberha and East London.
At the break of day, the shoreline hums with promise. A cool breeze drifts across the sand. Children laugh in the distance. Umbrellas bloom brightly, and the horizon glimmers with ease. It feels lighter here, fresher, as if summer has been redefined. That's the power of Samsung air conditioners in your home, where innovation meets serenity. Make every day a cooler, smarter summer. Shop at Samsung stores, online, or speak to your authorized installer.
EWN Traffic.
23 after 6, let's catch the roads. A first look at the roads, Amo, on this Wednesday. What are you seeing?
Well, Bongani, we've got some delays reported on the N1 North between the Golden Highway and the Diepkloof interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the Mark1 North between Boysens Road and Carr Street, while in Mayfair, expect heavy delays on the Main Reef Road approaching Crownwood Road. And then, of course, traveling on the N3 North, we've got some delays between the Elands Turnoff and the Kilulis interchange. More updates coming up, but if you come across anything else, we're on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. 7:02.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Hi, Bongani and team. I'm not sure if you have watched the Netflix series Adolescence. I think anyone who has a child in this day and age should watch that. I found it to be an eye-opener, and it was quite mind-blowing because I think our generation have absolutely no idea what our children are exposed to on social media. And I think it's absolutely terrifying what these things could potentially lead to and how they can affect our children. So I think that's an incredible series to watch. Thanks.
There's always help at hand, isn't there?
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 7:02. Let's walk the talk.
All right, 24 minutes after 6 o'clock, things you need to know at this hour. I want to know, have you ever participated in something so grueling, so challenging, you questioned whether or not you'd finish it? What was that? Let me tell you about a man called Carl Bushby. He began a walk around the world, like literally walking around the world. In 1998, he started a trek around the world. He's now an estimated 1,500 kilometers from finishing his 49,900 kilometer, 27-year journey back to his hometown in Hull, England. Over nearly 3 decades, he's trekked through 25 countries across multiple continents, crossing deserts, jungles, frozen seas, and war zones without using any motorized transport. If he completes the final leg of his journey, he'll be the first person to walk an unbroken route around the entire planet. All I can tell you, he's not South African. Professor Mamuketi Pakeng has hosted the inaugural Make Education Fashionable Awards in Pretoria, handing out 150,000 Rand in cash prizes to graduates making meaningful educational impact. Winners chosen from stories shared under the hashtag Make Education Fashionable hashtag received 20,000 Rand each. And again, how much access do you allow your team to have on social media? Today we're talking about Australia approving the strictest social media laws in the world, banning anyone under 16 from using platforms like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook from next year. The companies that allow underage users will then face up to 50 million Australian dollars for non-compliance. And it sparked a global debate. It's not only being had in Australia, everywhere around the world, people are thinking, hang on, are they onto something or are they not? Criminals in Kariga in the Eastern Cape are now targeting young children, delivering food to initiates. You remember, it's that time of the year where young men go through the initiation ceremony. There was a 9-year-old who was allegedly held at gunpoint, and it's prompted outrage from communities and authorities. By the way, whilst we're at that, so 24 arrests have been made around this thing, but we're also, again, talking about the loss of lives through this initiation process. And it's a conversation we have every year, and every year we're all shocked, aren't we? The Department of Home Affairs will extend operating hours to 6 from the 8th to the 19th of December, and again from the 5th to the 16th of January to help citizens apply for and collect smart ID cards. So from the 8th to the 19th of December, and then again from the 5th to the 16th of January, Home Affairs offices will now close at 6 p.m.
702.
The newspapers.
28 after 6. Let's look at the newspapers. Sviso Zulu, what's grabbing your attention? Good morning.
Good morning, Bongani. Today, the focus is on developments in Ukraine, where President Volodymyr Zelensky says that the country is ready to hold elections in the next 60 to 90 days. And this is based on if allies can guarantee security for the vote. His pushback at U.S. President Donald Trump, who insists that Zelensky is not holding elections because he's using the war as an excuse. And Zelensky says, no, this is not the case. They couldn't hold elections properly because of Russia's invasion, especially at the peak of that conflict, and is now asking for help from the US and his European allies to ensure that security is guaranteed during that election process.
The front page of the Business Day, that story Mateo told us about yesterday, ministers working together to save ferrochrome smelters. It's got a picture of the electricity minister, Dr. Josienzo Ramakgopa. The ANC is dying in cities, says the front page of The Citizen this morning, and they're saying increasingly the party's urban decline means it is becoming a rural party.
EWN Business.
All right, Mateo says, friend out of town wants a pizza place. Which one do you recommend? We've said Andicchio, we've said Panarotti's. Maybe you're a debonair person, I don't know. What prompts the question, Mateo?
Well, Bongani, the local advertising regulatory board has called for Debonairs to remove the claim that it is the home of Mzansi's favorite pizza. The board's directorate says the brand had not offered independent verification or numbers backing the statement. Now, according to Fin24, the ARB says the Debonairs used a number of surveys to make the claim, but they only speak to the popularity of the brand. The complaint was made by competitor Roman's Pizza. Now, the ARB says, according to clause 4.1 of section 2 of its code, an advertiser making a claim must be able to provide objective substantiation for that particular claim. So that's why they're saying they're asking Famous Brands to remove that claim from their websites. Famous Brands, the owners of Debonairs, says they are the best and the accolades prove it. Pizza, of course, is one of the most undisputed world's favorite fast food, available in some form or the other in almost every country. More than 5 billion pizzas are sold annually. It's no different here in South Africa. It's one of those foods that people order online and in terms of going to the shop. So I want to know if we can do a little bit of a survey here on 702 Breakfast, your favorite pizza, and do you agree that Debonairs is the best?
I like Debonairs. My kids love Debonairs.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear anything about Andicchio. Panarottis is more of a you go there.
Yes, it's
you know what I mean. I don't think of Panarottis as take out.
Yeah.
Kids not interested in Andichio. They love debonaires. So, which is your favorite, Mateo?
In our home, it's Romans, and that particular decision is made by Lerumo.
But also Romans has a price factor.
Yes, a very nice one.
It has a price factor.
A very nice one.
What your favorite pizza place? And tell us why. Where's the rand?
17.05 against the US dollar, 19 rand 81 against the euro, and a 22 rand 64 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,207 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,669. Brent crude at exactly $62 a barrel. More business after 7.
All right, let's go straight to the news desk. Sfiso Zulu, what do you have at this hour?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. Activists say progress in the case of the Midrand couple accused of running a child sex trafficking ring is a good sign of accountability. The Randburg Magistrates Court yesterday declared the matter involving Darren Wilkin and his girlfriend Tiona Moodley ready for trial. The couple faces almost 1,000 charges for manufacturing and distributing more than 10 million copies of child sexual abuse material. Women and Men Against Child Abuse says this case is possibly one of the biggest ever seen in South Africa of child sexual trafficking. South African retailers could be in for a profitable festive season following a rise in consumer confidence. The Consumer Confidence Index rebounded in the fourth quarter after falling in the third quarter of the year. The latest survey by F&B and Bureau for Economic Research shows that the consumers are willing to spend. F&B senior economist Siphamandla Mkhwanazi.
There were a number of developments, positive developments that contributed to this relatively positive outcome. The first is that we are in an environment where inflation is stable, food inflation has come down a little bit, from the time of the previous survey.
Mkhwanazi says furniture and care are among items likely to be on the shopping list for middle-class buyers.
So we're getting all of these goods at a cheaper price. The rand is stronger. Overall affordability is improving. Those developments tend to support sentiment. We do hope that we will see much more of that in the next quarter.
To address its ongoing financial woes, the ANC says it's looking at creative ways to generate revenue and become financially stable. The party's financial report has recently been tabled before its 5th National General Council, currently taking place at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg. While the report is confidential, the party's financial difficulties are not, with persistent late on payments of its employee salaries and service providers taking the party to court over unpaid invoices. Tabiso Goba takes a look.
Statistically, the ANC is the biggest party in the country, with more members and elected public representatives than any other party. However, the latest political funding report shows the EFF makes more money than the ANC from membership fees and levies. Levies are charged to members deployed to represent the party, either in municipal councils, provincial legislatures and the National Assembly. ANC national spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu was asked whether the party is considering raising its levy as one of its strategies to increase its revenue.
Our public deployees are levied by the ANC and are levied reasonably so that they themselves can be able to feed their families.
Bengu says the introduction of the Political Party Funding Act, which requires political organization to disclose their funders, has negatively impacted the ANC. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And Palestinian militant group Hamas says the Gaza ceasefire plan cannot proceed to its second phase as long as Israeli violations persist. The US-sponsored ceasefire, which was put in place on the 10th of October, halted the war that began after Hamas's deadly attack on Israel on October 7th in 2023. But it remains fragile as Israel and Hamas accuse each other almost daily on breaches. Hamas is accusing Israel of failing to respect the Gaza ceasefire deal, noting that under its terms, Israel should have reopened the Rafah crossing with Egypt and increased the volume of aid entering the territory. Meanwhile, Israel says authorities will allow crossing on the Israeli-controlled border between Jordan and the occupied West Bank to reopen today. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 15 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 26 and 28.
And in the traffic in Pretoria, we've got an accident reported on the N1 South. It happened after Sefako Makgato Drive. It's causing heavy traffic volumes, about a 20-minute hold up between Sefako Makgato and Stormville Road.
The top story this hour, activists say progress in the case of a Midrand couple accused of running a child sex trafficking ring is a good sign of accountability.
Naked people smell expensive because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums and more money on fancy French colognes with names they can't pronounce. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And because it's all online, it also costs less. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start smelling like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Hi, this is Teko Modise, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Be a winner who knows when it's time for a timeout and play responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No person under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Box and team. I was watching BBC this morning, early hours of this morning. The very same debate was there about the banning of kids on social media. One speaker there indicated that should this happen, these kids will outsmart us anyways. They will go to dark sites. Now these are unregulated sites whereby government and parents do not have control. So my take on this thing, Bongs, as he was talking, I thought, man, they do have algorithms. Why can't we parents register their kids for social media apps? And then, because if it's kids that are doing that by themselves, they tend to register wrong information like your age and so. So parents register them and then algorithm follows their ages.
I'm 100% agree with the Australian law because to my opinion, I think it's a very good idea because if you can look, especially in our African countries, specifically South Africa, we've got more teenage pregnancy because of this social media, because these children, they see more irrelevant things than important things. In fact, they should have extended the year to the 18 and not 16.
We're talking about Australia's social media ban for children under 16. That takes effect from today. And I'm asking the simple question, would it work here? And what about those parents who say, hang on, you've got to guide your kids in the use of these platforms and you can't abdicate your responsibility to the state. On the other hand, some parents are absolutely clueless about how these things work and wouldn't know where to begin even if they wanted to. So perhaps the state makes that easier. Where are you on this?
Good morning, Bongani and the team. Hope you guys are good, man. Bongani, for me, the best pizza and the best pizza place is the place called Harvard Restaurant at the Rand Airport. Those guys make the best pizza. You'd swear it's coming from Italy.
Hi, Matteo. I'll tell you why Bongani and Amo are choosing Andisho. And I think there's no such thing as people making the best pizza. It's all about the different toppings that you could find at a pizza place. And mostly the Boners used to have the best toppings, but now I think they're trying to reduce costs and they are now putting less toppings, especially in the so-called triple deckers. You'll find that on the inside layers, there's basically 3 pieces of chicken. And the other reason that Andishua would be said to be the best by Bongani and Amo is because you can choose multiple toppings that you'd like on a pizza. And I think the reason Motao is asking this question is because of the Bonnes going international.
Yeah, they are. And they are rated very, very highly. I've had friends who live, in fact, I had one friend who lived in New York for a very, very long time. And New York is kind of like the home of pizza. And he swore by Debonair's pizza. He said this is the best he'd ever tasted. This was, of course, some years ago. All right, Mateo wants to know, a friend visits from out of town, from off the planet, and all they want is pizza. Where do you take them?
EWN Sport.
Welcome back, Cindy Paluta. Hope you are feeling a little better today.
Yeah, I feel great. It's just the voice is gone, which is apparently hitting the whole of Joburg. So it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm good.
All right, cool. I won't let you talk too much, although I'm keen to know your views on the social media issue with the kids under 16. Your thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts on that because that is the keynote address that I do give. And I believe essentially at the end of the day, the power lies with the parents. I think parents have forgotten that they've got the power to choose what their kids do and don't do on their cell phones. I think a lot of parents are just buckling to children and just giving in and being like, well, they're all doing it. And then if you are going to give your child a cell phone and allow them to be on social media, then you yourself have to be equipped. You have to know what's going on. You can't stick your head in the sand and go, oh, well, I don't know Snapchat. Oh, well, I don't know TikTok. You actually learn to connect with your child through that to see what they are and aren't into. You can also save them from a lot of pitfalls. So it's not necessarily the fact that the technology is bad. It's that you're not educating yourself. So you wouldn't give your child car keys without giving them driver's licenses and making sure that they've gone through all the practices and the lessons, but you're giving them a cell phone without training them in any kind of way.
And letting strangers into their lives and all sorts of influences you have no control over.
I've got a friend who lives in Australia, and that ban has just been put in place, and she's even waiting to see how exactly they're going to monitor that. But
that's the other difficulty.
The power lies with all parents making a collective decision that your children will together not have social media in your group of friends, right?
Let's talk sports. We got a thrashing yesterday. And I couldn't watch at some point. I just actually switched off the TV and I can't.
So I watched the first inning. I watched India batting, and then when Quinton de Kock went for a duck, I was like, okay, we can bounce back.
Nah.
It wasn't great. India have thrashed the Proteas by 101 runs in the first T20, which is a worrying result considering the T20 World Cup is less than 2 months away. Sent into bat, India posted a chaseable 175 for 6. Man of the match, Pandya, unbeaten on 59 from 28. Proteas collapsed to 74 all outs. Only 4 batsmen got double digits. Batting coach Ashwell Prince.
I thought the pitch was good. Not every pitch that you bat on is supposed to be a 220 pitch. You know, they had to work hard, India, for the first part of their innings, and obviously Hardik came in and played a brilliant knock to give them a competitive score. I don't think in any cricket match you can decide at the halfway stage if you have a winning score, but what you can do is put up a competitive score, and obviously it turned out to be enough.
Proteas women are going for a whitewash series win. They play Ireland in the third T20 in Benoni from 6 p.m. All-rounder Nadine de Klerk.
We really want to start dominating world cricket, and I know we haven't had probably the best time in bilateral series before this one, and I think it was our first series win at home since 2021, I think. So I guess to come out here after the World Cup and really put up a dominant performance is what we were after, and it's great to see that different people's been putting their hands up and that we've really put Ireland under pressure. But series one, obviously, but there's still one massive game, and I think we still want to dominate that last game as well.
In live test cricket, New Zealand sent the West Indies into bat in the second test. The West Indies 205 for 9. Tickner has taken 4 wickets. Ray has taken 3. In the Champions League last night, Liverpool got manager Arne Slot a much-needed 1-0 win over Inter. Shabashla with a penalty 2 minutes from the end. Here's boss Arne Slot.
I think it was mainly for us very important that we got a result today. We needed points, and we know how difficult that would be over here. So it's a great result like it was against Real Madrid. I think it's the weird thing that we've had a few special results this season. So beating Arsenal, beating Real Madrid, beating Newcastle away. So that's why it's so surprising to see that we drop points in so many other games.
Barcelona came from a goal down to beat Eintracht 2-1. Conde with 2 goals scored 3 minutes apart. Bayern Munich's 3-1 win over Sporting, including a goal from 17-year-old Leonard Carl. Chelsea lost to Atlanta 2-1. Spurs got a 3-0 win over Slavia Prague. Also victory for Olympiacos, AS Monaco, Atletico Madrid and Marseille. And in Formula 1, Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko will leave the team after 20 years. The 82-year-old has been an integral part of Red Bull's success since the team formed in 2005, as they won 6 Constructors' Championship and 8 Drivers' titles. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
There's a new way to experience all your favorites. Pulse Africa, the 24/7 fast channel, now live on PrimeMediaPlus.com and the Prime Media Plus app, bringing you the best of Prime Media around the clock. Watch the biggest moments from 702. It's non-stop entertainment and authentic African storytelling, all from Africa's leading media network. Pulse Africa, only on the PrimeMediaPlus.com and Prime Media Plus app.
Selling your car? Don't change your festive plans. WeBuyCars will come to you and handle it in a flash. Simply complete the form on webuycars.co.za to get your offer. Gifting yourself a new ride? Well, visit WeBuyCars online or at any branch to find the car on your wish list. WeBuyCars, the easiest way to buy or sell your car.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Hello, Uncle Bongani. My name is Jedone. I'm 11 years old. I go to Townsville Primary. When I grow up, I want to be a scientist. I'm excited to play the Whiz Quiz with you, Uncle Bongani.
Yes, indeed. This is our third last Whiz Quiz for the year. We're finishing it on Friday, so we're excited to play with you. Can you walk away with the 10,000 Rand?
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo, there are delays in the capital. What's going on?
Bongani, a major accident reported on the N1 South right after Sefako Makgato exit. It's causing about a 20-minute delay at this particular point. Even Sefako Makgato is heavily backed up as a result of this scene. If you are traveling on the R80 East, there's also queuing traffic in the Mountain View area. This is between the R55 and Eskom Pahlele exit. While traveling in Joburg, we've got some delays, peak time delays, in fact, on the N1 South between Samren Avenue and Olifantsfontein Road. But if you're heading towards the city of Tshwane using the N1 North, we've got an accident right near New Road causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady who forgot to buy a secret Santa gift for tomorrow's office party. She remembers that she can re-gift that thingy-mabob she got for her birthday. Yes. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a last-minute plan on the move. Happy holidays to every story on the road. You're the reason the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
FlySafair is flying into summer, and so should you, with 175 daily flights to 50 sun-soaked destinations. Early bird, midday meanderer, or night owl. Whatever your travel style is, with more flights, more often, to more places, you can start your holiday whenever it suits you. From seaside chills to mountain thrills, it's time to pick your favorite holiday hotspot and go. Book now at flysafair.co.za. FlySafair, for the love of flying. T's and C's apply.
This festive, when your family gathers, feed them the Nando's Festive Fill-Up meal. Feed Auntie, who's in charge of the key to that room. And feed that niece that makes the strict grandparents do TikTok challenges. And that cousin that watches the same movie that comes in part 1, 2, 3, 4, and many more. Yeah, you can feed it too. Gather them all for the Nando's Festive Fill-Up meal for only $3.99. Eat at Nando's and pay 40 Rand less. Nando's, oh, what a place.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Confirmation that as a consumer, you're feeling a little more confident than you were a few months ago, but you're still feeling less confident than over the longer term average.
There were a number of positive developments that contributed to this relatively positive outcome. The first is that we are in an environment where inflation is stable, food inflation has come down a little bit. From the time of the previous survey to this current survey, we've seen fuel prices going down. We've also seen interest rates coming down.
Sipamandla Mkwanazi is the senior economist.
The Money Show.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story, because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Let's play the Whiz Quiz. Remember, of course, we are going to be playing our last rounds this year because many kids are already on school holidays. Dieudonné is our contestant today, 11 years old, wants to be a scientist later on in life. Dieudonné, do you know what kind of scientist you want to be? What kind of science interests you?
About space.
You like anything to do with space. I tell you what, you and me could be friends. I'm fascinated by space and the size of the universe and the origins of the universe and things of that nature. Let's see how well you do in the Whiz Quiz, hey?
Okay, I'm going.
Have you got a target in mind?
Yes.
What's your target?
10,000 rand.
All right, let's see how you do. Good luck, mate. KG, start the clock. Spell the word trouble.
THOBLEM.
Not true. TROUBLE. What is 35 minus 15?
Please repeat.
What is 35 minus 15?
20.
Correct. Does the South African word haikona mean no or does it mean please?
Please.
It means no. Which season is between winter and summer?
Autumn.
Spring. Today is Wednesday. What was the day before yesterday?
Tuesday.
It was Monday. Which large island lies east of Africa? Madagascar is the answer we were looking for there. Bit of a rough one there for you, Dieudonné, I'm afraid. Also, the way this thing works is just you get through more if you are a little bit faster. You walk away with 100 Rand. 100 Rand, better than nothing. 100 Rand. Dieudonné is our 11-year-old contestant. We've got 2 more days of the Whiz Quiz. If you'd really like to enter, send us a voice note on 072 702 1702. But you must be aged 10 to 13 to play.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
072 702 1702 is the same number for what's coming up in the next hour. And that, of course, is What's the Question? Brought to you by Outsurance. Up to 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. You send us an answer based on anything that piqued your interest during the show, and we'll give you 1,000 Rand. Later, someone else will ask a question to get your answer to win 2,000 Rand. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
The Africa Report.
Let's focus on stories from the rest of the continent. We told you this week about a short-lived putsch in Benin, long regarded as one of the most stable countries in West Africa. But on Sunday morning, a group of soldiers stormed the national broadcaster, went live on TV and declared the president had been removed. But it was later that afternoon when fighter jets from Nigeria, neighboring Nigeria, were seen in the sky. Gunfire was heard near the president's home. And by Sunday night, President Patrice Talon appeared on TV saying the situation was totally under control. 14 suspects have been arrested, including 2 senior officers. And let's get a fuller picture from Dr. Charles Sinkala, who is an international relations expert. Dr. Sinkala, welcome to 702 Breakfast, and thank you for your time this morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me, and good morning to the listeners.
All right, so there is a little bit of a delay, so that's what that pause was about. Have I outlined what happened on Sunday accurately?
The attempted coup d'etat led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tegui was likely driven by the country's deteriorating security situation in the north, coupled with perceived government neglect and disregard for the military. In Benin has been grappling with jihadist attacks, and especially on the other side of the country, which is part of the north, closer to Nigeria. Soldiers' actions may have been motivated by frustrations over the government's response, and as well as the governance of the country.
All right, just give us context in terms of what's going on in the north of Benin and how that has spilled over to neighboring countries like Nigeria. We know that there is a menace there in terms of organizations, terror organizations, you might even say. What exactly is the situation on the ground?
The region is facing a perfect storm of insecurity in the north of Benin, notwithstanding the fact that West Africa has never been innocent in terms of coup d'etats. Mostly citing insecurities. Yes, faith-based organizations, or should I say jihadists who are mostly the Muslim communities has always been having a fight against the other religions. But to the large extent, these coup d'etats has been cited by many experts who have investigated them in terms of how military security, private and military security companies purportedly hired to protect the interest of minerals, and investments, who are armed and from external forces and external partners. And the fight against either France, Russia, United States of America of control of these territories has had mixed feelings in terms of the right and the left whom they belong to, and especially those who are offered high pegs, and the national military becomes mutin, against their own government because they've been offered that should you do one or two, three things, you'll be paid this much.
I mean, you mentioned it as a perfect storm, and now you're talking about outside players perhaps fighting proxy battles in the region. We've seen, of course, coups in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Guinea-Bissau. Now this attempt in Benin. What does that mean for West Africa, particularly in the context that President Talon has been accused of weakening democratic institutions and sidelining opposition? I mean, it really is, as you say, that perfect storm.
Definitely. And, to some extent, that cannot be true statement that the president has been at the forefront of weakening the civil structures in terms of his democratic governance. That is a rise of the outsiders to, lure people who have elected government to turn against their own government due to those external forces. I've never lived to a time where, a head of state will, especially during this time, will intentionally weakens their constitutional institutions, which are regulated and statutory appointed to uphold the law and making sure that they give a chance to each and every citizen. These forces, like what you mentioned in the region, there is a narrative that they believe that a military government is better than a civil government. As you can see in other nations like, Niger, you've mentioned, they have all been militarized, where they promised that they'll hand over the power within 90 days and they're still hanging on to power. In that sense, they have seen a loophole that under the military government, the constitution and the state of emergency is ensued, where now they can decide by the mouth rather than the power of the people.
Well, investigations, we are told, will continue. The coup leader is still at large, and so this story will likely develop in the coming days. Appreciate your time, Dr. Charles Sinkala, international relations expert, looking at the putsch that nearly was in Benin in West Africa. It is a real concern in terms of stability in that part of the continent.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
The big interview focuses on one of the candidates for the next National Director of Public Prosecutions. He's held the post before, but the Constitutional Court found Menzi Simelane unfit for the job. Freedom under law is spitting fire, and they're saying he cannot be one of the top candidates. The other story, of course, is the Aussie ban for social media for kids under the age of 16. All of that to come after this Eyewitness News, brought to you by Momentum. Financial advisors help you have a better shot at generational wealth. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor. Momentum is part of the Momentum Group Limited, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
The MK party loses another legal fight against Ramaphosa, and the public protector calls for the protection of whistleblowers. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The High Court in Pretoria has dismissed the MK party's bid to challenge the suspension of Senzo Mchunu as police minister and the establishment of the Madlanga Commission. This is the party's third loss in the matter after they were refused direct access in the Constitutional Court in July, and it was dismissed for a lack of urgency in September. The party and its leader, former President Jacob Zuma, argued that President Cyril Ramaphosa acted unlawfully following allegations of corruption in the country's justice system. Modisa reports.
While the MK party had challenged the decision to place Senzo Mchunu on special leave, saying the president only has power to hire and fire members of the executive, Ramaphosa's lawyers had argued that he has implied powers to suspend or place on special leave. In the latest judgment, the full bench in the Pretoria High Court has ruled that to fire Mchunu outright based on untested allegations could be hailed as irrational. They say there must be power to protect the public's confidence in the executive and to investigate whether there are grounds for a dismissal. While the MK also argued against the Madlanga Commission, saying the judiciary, which is implicated in wrongdoing, is investigating itself, the court has ruled that the president rationally applied his mind in the establishment of the commission, and it is a decision that cannot be faulted from a point of legality and rationality. Khomza Modise, Eyewitness News.
Public Protector Koleka Gqaleka has bemoaned the slow pace of government in strengthening the country's whistleblowing legislation. She says the death of Tembisa Hospital whistleblower Babita Deokaran is an indication on government's collective failure to protect those brave enough to expose wrongdoing. Gqaleka was among those who gathered at Stellenbosch University yesterday to commemorate Deokaran on World Anti-Corruption Day in an inaugural lecture 4 years since she was gunned down in front of her home. On Friday night, security specialist Marius van der Merwe died in a similar fashion after testifying anonymously at the Madlanga Commission probing police corruption. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
Public Protector Koleka Gqaleka says it's been 2 years since her office submitted proposals to the Justice Department in response to a discussion document, but still there's been no movement on tightening the law.
There's a need for financial protection. There's a need for security. There's a need for protection of their integrity. There needs to be education and awareness.
Gqaleka has backed the calls by civil society groups who also spoke at yesterday's commemorative event for a dedicated whistleblower authority and for corruption recovery funds to be used for this purpose.
Most importantly, we need a redress for those whistleblowers who were identified during the Zondo Commission, because it doesn't inspire confidence to other people who want to blow the whistle because they remain prejudiced.
Gqaleka says a cultural shift is also required to stop whistleblowers from being viewed as troublemakers, disloyal employees, or threats to institutional stability. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
The ANC says it will not be forcing its members to choose between the party and its alliance partner, the SACP. Dual membership between the two organizations has been a long-standing tradition, but with the SACP now contesting elections alone, it has become an issue. The ANC says people with dual membership were not excluded from its 5th National General Council, which is taking place in Boksburg. Tabiso Goba reports.
On the first day of the ANC's NGC on Monday, the SACP's Deputy General Secretary Madala Masuku was repeatedly heckled by the delegates while making a speech. ANC National Chairperson Gwede Mantashe repeatedly had to intervene on his behalf unsuccessfully. Mandashe is part of many that hold a dual membership between the ANC and the SACP.
As dual membership, every individual will take a decision, not the ANC NEC. It is not the NEC's decision, it is my decision. What do I want to do with my membership? I'm a member of both parties, and I will have to decide which party I campaign for.
Mandashe was asked which of the parties he will vote for.
I will vote for the ANC. I'm the national chairperson of the ANC.
Part of the discussions in the ANC's NGC is the future of the alliance. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
And more than 500,000 people have fled their homes to safety in Thailand and Cambodia since the start of a reignited border conflict. Thailand's defense ministry says civilians had to evacuate in large numbers due to imminent threats to their safety. Thailand and Cambodia dispute the colonial era demarcation of their 800-kilometer frontier, where competing claims to historic temples can spill over into armed conflict. At least 10 soldiers and civilians have been killed on both sides in the latest spat of fighting. Gold is trading at $4,201.55 an ounce. The rand is at 17.04 to the dollar, 22.67 to the pound, 19.82 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $61.94 a barrel.
And in the traffic in the city of Tshwane, we still have got that accident scene. It's a major one on the N1 South. It's right near Stormful Road. Delays coming out of Sefako Makgato exit. There's also queuing traffic along the N1 North in Midrand. This is right near the New Road exit. An accident reported there. It's causing delays. Please try to avoid.
And in your sport, Liverpool got a much-needed win over Inter in the Champions League. Also victory for Barca, Bayern and Spurs, while Chelsea lost. India thrashed the Proteas by 101 runs in the first T20. The T20 World Cup's just 8 weeks away. Proteas women are going for a T20 Whitewash Series win tonight over Ireland in Benoni. And Stormers luck Audrey Smith banned for one match.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg starting at 15 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 17 and 28. Vereeniging 17 as well, and a high of 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The High Court in Pretoria has dismissed the MK Party's bid to challenge the suspension of Senzo Mchunu as police minister and the establishment of the Madlanga Commission.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes after 7 o'clock, we're having a fascinating discussion because, of course, from today in Australia, kids under 16 are now blocked from using social media. And I've been following part of the debate in Australia, and some of the kids are saying, hang on a minute, you are removing only one element of social media, and that is the ability of kids to have accounts. If you're a parent, for example, who's concerned about doom scrolling, where kids sit on a device and they just sit there flicking page after page after page after page, you can do that on YouTube. You can do that on TikTok without an account. And then you can still access all of this content that you as a parent might be concerned about, even if your kid doesn't have an account. And how on earth are they going to monitor it? Because some of these kids are going to find clever ways of bypassing or at least tricking the social media platforms. Doesn't that then suggest, as Cindy Paluta, my colleague, was saying a little earlier on, that ultimately it's the parents who must guide this conversation? So, does that then mean there's any room for the state to act? Where are you on this? Send us a voice note. Let's chat.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock, we've been telling you all week, of course, about a cash-strapped African National Congress. They've been holding their National General Council. And you'll remember just a couple of days ago, there were staffers from the ANC, employees of the organization, who were protesting outside that NGC for salaries unpaid. Some of them claiming that they have monies owed to them dating as far back as August 2023. And they were saying this year, for example, August, September, and October, some had not received their salaries. And one of the explanations by the spokesperson of the ANC, Mahlengu Bengu, yesterday, addressing those financial issues during a media briefing council, was that, well, of course they've got problems because they are not a corrupt party. They wouldn't have these problems, you see, if they were corrupt. That's what she actually said. You don't believe me? Have a listen.
Our public employees are levied by the ANC and are levied reasonably so that they themselves can be able to feed their families. I always say that if the ANC was a corrupt party, not individuals, the ANC as an organization, if it was a corrupt party, we would not be poor. We would be tapping into the resources of the state as a governing party. So that's something to note. But I can say that for sure we're focusing on building and strengthening our machinery, and we need resources to be able to do so. And that work is ongoing. But I do want to stress that you've seen a number of political parties when they come into power, and then they grow their headquarters, they grow everything because they can access resources of the state. We can't access resources of the state because it will be fraud, it will be illegal. We have to work with what is applicable, and that is what we're doing.
Can you believe it? So they haven't paid these salaries. And the reason, she says, well, you know, we've got a few problems because we're so clean as a party. We're not corrupt. So is she suggesting that when they have been able to pay them, when they have been cash flush,
the money came from places where it shouldn't have come from?
Is that what she's saying?
And I'm also interested in which party are, funding the resources from state money.
And if they're aware of it, why aren't they reporting it?
Exactly my point.
If they're aware that Party X is doing this, why aren't they laying charges against those parties? Our ace reporter from EWN, Tabiso Koba, spoke to some of the workers, in fact, who were picketing outside the NGC. And here's here's the irony. So Tabiso spoke to Dan Semenya, who is a Nihao branch deputy secretary, but also a delegate at the same NGC as a senior member of the ANC. So you see those two hats that he's wearing. He's representing the employees who've not been paid, but he's also part of the political discussions that were unfolding. This is what Dan Semenya had to say.
The staff of the ANC in Little House and some members within the province will be picketing here outside the NGC doorstep on the basis of three things, that there is consistent late payment of salaries, and secondly, there is an issue that evolved again around the payment of Provident Fund. I think now we are almost into up to 6 months now that our Provident Fund has not been paid. Issues that relates to medical aid also. For the last month of November, we have been experiencing issues where members will go to hospitals or a doctor. Only when they arrive there, they'll be told that medical aid has been suspended. So the issue here is about lack of communication, the desire in the side of the leadership and the management in itself to address the issues that relates to the staff issues, because it cannot be correct that the ANC as a caring movement is not able to care for its staff internally before it starts to deliver services to society in general.
Yeah. What can they do for society if they can't do the basics for their own employees? You go to the doctor, no, your medical aid has not been paid. Your Provident Fund, no, your retirement is in jeopardy because, and guys. But they're not corrupt. They're not corrupt.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
This is an extraordinary story. Pedo mom, drogged woman, Ivanka. These are just some of the names of titles that police say a criminal network allegedly ran as part of a massive child pornography operation using stolen identities and fraudulent accounts. And they sold these in packages ranging from 185 Rand to 92,000 Rand, reportedly generating millions in profits. And they were caught because the FBI caught wind of what they were doing. They were operating here in South Africa. Darren Wilkins and Tiona Moodley face more than 900 charges, including the distribution of child pornography and fraud. Nobel officials say they have no idea why this year's Peace Prize winner Maria Corina Machado will arrive for the ceremony as the Venezuelan operation. They don't know when she will arrive. She basically hasn't collected her prize, her Nobel Peace Prize, because she remains in hiding and her whereabouts are unknown. Remember, of course, she's in opposition to the Maduro regime. Heavy rainfalls have caused 3 sinkholes to form on the R500 near Carltonville, and that's forced a partial road closure, so motorists are warned to use alternative routes in that area. December 10th, most famously Human Rights Day globally, marking the 1948 adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations. And President Nelson Mandela signed South Africa's new constitution on this day in 1996, making an historic step towards a democracy built on equality and human rights.
702. Up next.
The big interview.
EWN.
This EWN brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 451442 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. That crash in mid-Rand, Amo.
Bongani, it's really a hectic one. It's causing heavy delays coming out of Allendale Road. It's on the N1 North at this particular moment. You could save yourself a bit of time if you use Old Pretoria Road towards areas like Kempton Park as well as Tembisa and even the city of Tshwane, because it's causing about a 20-minute hold-up between Allendale Road and New Road. I'll have more details coming up shortly. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The roads just aren't the same without the Outsurance pointsman. Like a festive mince pie without the filling. That would be horrible. But even the Outsurance pointsman needs some time off this festive season, so they'll be on leave from the 12th of December. But don't stress, they'll be back on the roads, easing New Year traffic congestion from 9 January 2026. The Outsurance pointsman getting you there quickly and safely for the past 20 years. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Hey guys, this is Robert Marawa, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Selling your car? Don't change your festive plans. WeBuyCars will come to you and handle it in a flash. Simply complete the form on webuycars.co.za to get your offer. Getting yourself a new ride? Visit WeBuyCars online or at any branch to find the car on your wish list. WeBuyCars, the easiest way to buy or sell your car.
It's been a long year of, I hope this email finds you well. One long year of loop backs, circle backs, going back to the drawing board, touching base, pushing the envelope, taking things offline and thinking outside the box. Thank goodness, AV's 4 for 3 is here. For vacays, bakeys, imicimbi, nemikiti and weddings. If you book a car for a minimum of 4 days, you'll only pay for 3. Plus, if it's a Group A car, you get upgraded to a stylish Group B car so you can really get into the vibe. Visit avis.co.za for bookings. Terms and conditions apply.
702.
The big interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
19 after 7, the race is on to find our next Director of Public Prosecutions. 6 candidates are set to face a presidential advisory panel, but one name is raising eyebrows, and that, of course, is of Advocate Menzi Simelane. He was a previous incumbent. He held the post before, until the Constitutional Court raised serious concerns about his conduct, finding him, in fact, improper and set aside that appointment. But he's also facing a fight with the Johannesburg Society of Advocates, who are saying not only do they not want him as NDPP, they don't want him to be an advocate at all. Freedom Under Law, a watchdog in legal affairs, has also submitted a formal objection saying they don't want him in that top job. Chris Oxtoby joins us now on the line, who is a research consultant for Freedom Under Law. Chris, a very good morning to you. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Bongani, and good morning to your listeners.
Right, Menzi Simelane argues, hang on, we've had many, many years since the events that led to him being declared fit, or at least not fit and proper, both by the Ginwala Commission and eventually the Constitutional Court. He says, even if you have a quibble with what he might have done there, look at his record as a civil servant rather than as a lawyer. He is fit for this job.
Well, the problem with that argument is that a major part of his record as a civil servant implicates the findings that the Ginwala Commission made about him. I mean, at the time, if people cast their minds all the way back to that dispute, he was the Director General, of the Department of Justice, and it was in that capacity that the Ginwala Commission made very serious adverse findings against him, and I won't go into the full details of them, but I think it is worth people just recalling some of the
Chris,
a brief summary of those issues.
A brief summary won't hurt. This was all around the removal of Vusi Pikoli. He was the Director General in the Department of Justice. He framed the letter that led to the decision of the removal of Vusi Pikoli, and that's essentially what was at issue with his conduct.
Yeah, the letter is a crucial issue, and that particular letter, which he was found to have drafted for the minister, the Ginwala inquiry, in fact, describes the writing of that letter as being reckless, and it said that it was tantamount to executive interference in the NPA's independence. So, I mean, we can just pause straight away and consider what it would mean to have somebody with that finding hanging over them, whether or not it was a long time ago. I frankly don't think makes a great deal of difference. The fact was that that happened. That was found by the Ginwala Commission, and it was confirmed by the Constitutional Court subsequently. None of the Ginwala. Sorry, go ahead,
Chris. Is there room to say, hang on, let this process unfold? There's nothing legally, perhaps, that prevents him from applying for the post, but neither is this advisory panel compelled to recommend him to the president, and that by opposing this, you're making this a bigger issue than it necessarily ought to be?
Well, I think it ought to be a big issue. I mean, this, as I said, the gravity of those findings, I don't think can be underplayed, and I think that's particularly so if we think of all the challenges that are facing the criminal justice sector at the moment. We clearly need a National Director of Public Prosecutions that is beyond reproach and that is not going to have issues about their fitness for office, about their credibility, and frankly, and I'm using words that appear in the Ginwala Commission report and in the judgment, that their honesty is not in question. You are quite right to point out that the decision of the panel does not bind the president. It is ultimately the president's decision. But I think it's really important that that decision is informed by a proper appraisal of the track record of the candidates, including these issues in Advocate Simelane's background. And of course, it was the failure of former President Zuma to take those factors into account which led to his original appointment as National Director being set aside in the first place. So we have to be very alive to what those issues are, I think.
Yeah, if the Con Court, the highest court in the land, found him improper before, why would it be appropriate to appoint him now? Chris Oxtoby, research consultant for Freedom Under Law. Thank you for your time.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
23 after 7. The other big debate this morning, of course, as we've been telling you all morning, from today, kids under 16 in Australia are going to suddenly be offline, at least when it comes to having accounts on various social media platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. That ban, as I say, kicks in today. In South Africa, the debate has been raised about whether or not it could work even in our country. Sarah Hoffman, who is a digital parenting expert and also a social media lawyer, joins us now on the line. Sarah, thank you for your time. Your thoughts on this?
Thank you for having me, Bongani.
Your thoughts on this? Good or bad idea?
I think it's a monumental law, Bongani. I think that the world is watching Australia. There have been many countries that have already expressed interest, Denmark, New Zealand, and I think everybody's watching with bated breath as this absolutely monumental law takes effect today. I think, excuse me, in theory, this is an absolutely positive move. The government itself had said it's not going to be perfect to start. There will be loopholes. Kids are going to find workarounds as they always do. But for the very first time, why this is so groundbreaking is what this law is doing is for the first time it is taking the responsibility away from parents to monitor this very overwhelming and difficult space that has rewired their child's brain and putting it rightfully back on the tech companies where it belongs.
Critics will say, hang on, but aren't the parents getting a get-out-of-jail card, if you will, that ultimately it is the parents' responsibility to guide their kids around the use of devices and social media applications. I've heard, because I follow the debate in Australia, and one of the kids made the argument that all you're doing is removing their ability to have accounts, but they'll still be able to doom scroll even if they don't have those. So what's the point? One element's gone, they'll still be addicted to the stuff.
So that's not entirely true. I mean, I think it is platform dependent. On
YouTube is one of the most addictive ones. TikTok is one of the most addictive ones. You don't need accounts for those.
So you don't need accounts to create the publicly accessible content. But what it is taking away is the algorithmic recommendations. It is taking away the ability to interact with strangers in the comments, the ability to post and upload content and wait for the reactions or no reactions, the ability to interact with strangers and direct messages. On Snapchat, for example, it's taking away that gamified streaks and makes the platform even more addictive. And on the meta platforms, WhatsApp isn't at the moment affected, but in terms of Facebook and Instagram, the AI chatbot access is removed. So yes, it's not fixing everything, but it's certainly removing a lot of the features that have proved to be very harmful for children.
Yeah. Look, verification tools, as you know, are not perfect. What are some of the loopholes or practical challenges that you see?
Kids are very, very clever and, they're already finding workarounds. So they're doing things like changing their dates of birth and changing their locations, changing their email addresses to their parents, using VPNs. Some of them are even doing something like writing in their bio, this is a parent-managed account, or getting their cousin to create an account. But for this reason, the Australian government is has required that the platforms use multiple tools to work together to assess if a user is over 16. So they are looking at age estimation, so biometric features. They will use hard identifiers like your ID, documents, etc. And then also things like age inference. So they will look at online behaviors. What are the other accounts this user is following? Have you been on the Meta platform for a number of years? If that's the case, you might well be over 16. So they're looking at a range of, they're using a number of different tools to assess if someone is under or over 16.
All right, Australia, first world country, far fewer people, I would even argue far fewer problems than the complexities we face in South Africa. If we went this route, would we be able to enforce it at all?
Bongani, that's $1 million question. I think as with everything in our country, it turns to enforcement. As you know, we have one of the most sophisticated legislative processes, one of the best constitutions in the world, but really what it does come down to is enforcement. And unfortunately, I think, that is a very, very big question mark for us. But what is encouraging about this ban is it certainly has increased awareness globally on, why there is a need for a ban in the first place. It's opened up conversations, even a really lovely opportunity for parents listening to speak to your own children and ask them what they think about it. Because really what we find is so many kids land up being on devices and on social media platforms, not because it's essential for their survival, but that is where all their friends are socializing.
Yeah.
If we take that pressure away, there is no exclusion and they are not left out.
They can go play with a bicycle with their friends next door, hey?
Yes, and we can all see teenagers collectively rolling their eyes right now, but I think in time it is a welcome relief.
All right, Sarah Hoffman, appreciate your time. Digital parenting expert, also a social media lawyer, the founder of Clicked.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 451442 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. I'm always the worst hotspot at the moment.
Well, particularly at this moment, Bongani, the N3 North right near the Klulis interchange, as well as the N12 and the R24 West. Those are the most hectic delays at this moment. But I have more details coming up shortly. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the lady who forgot to buy a secret Santa gift for tomorrow's office party. She remembers that she can re-gift that thingamabob she got for her birthday. Yes! The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a last-minute plan on the move. Happy holidays to every story on the road. You're the reason the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. EWN Business.
Let's look into business news now. Muteo Haripa, Eskom's revised unbundling strategy approved.
The Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa, has approved Eskom's revised unbundling strategy. Eskom's transmission assets will remain with the National Transmission Company of South Africa, which is a subsidiary of Eskom Holdings. An independent transmission system operator will be created to manage system operations, market operations, and central purchasing. Eskom says the separation will enable more efficient service delivery, greater competition, and enhance policy and investor certainty to drive reindustrialization in South Africa and economic growth. The power producer will implement the strategy in phases, managing financial and operational risks.
What, consumer confidence starting to look up?
Yeah, we are closer to that spending period, and consumers are feeling a little better at the end of the year. According to the latest FNB Consumer Confidence Index, sentiment has rebounded to -9 index points in the fourth quarter of 2025, the highest reading for the year. All three sub-indices of the Consumer Confidence Index improved. Lower interest rates and a stronger Rand exchange rate are also boosting that confidence.
Where's the Rand?
17.05 against the US dollar, in the green this morning at 19 Rand 82 against the euro, and at 22 Rand 65 cents against the British pound. Price of gold, $4,203 an ounce. Platinum at $1,667. Brent crude at $61.94 a barrel. More business after 8.
Straight to the news desk we go. Sfisa Zulu, what do you have at this hour?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. The investigating directorate against corruption says it's making progress in combating tax-related crimes and corruption in public procurement. IDEC, SARS and other law enforcement agencies have secured a conviction for a company director facing corruption charges relating to 3.6 million rands worth of tax fraud. Director of Grey Apple Trading Enterprise, Tsepo Khoza, has been sentenced to 6 years direct imprisonment with 2 years suspended. Khoza's conviction follows extensive investigations which uncovered dodgy tenders from the SAPS. IDEC spokesperson Henry Mamotame says the tenders were awarded due to Khoza's family relationship with a senior police official.
Khoza failed to declare his company income tax, claiming that his company was dormant between 2015 and 2018, which in actual fact was a period in which he was awarded tenders by a senior official within the South African Police Service. The two, together with one more accused who is also related to them, are facing corruption charges in a separate matter, which is set to resume on 2 February 2026.
Activists say progress in the case of a Midrand couple accused of running a child sex trafficking ring is a good sign of accountability. The Randburg Magistrates Court yesterday declared the matter involving Darren Wilkin and his girlfriend Tiana Moodley ready for trial. The couple faces almost 1,000 charges for manufacturing and distributing more than 10 million copies of child sexual abuse material. Women Men Against Child Abuse says this case is possibly one of the biggest ever seen in South Africa of child sexual trafficking. The organization's Alex Talbot.
Almost 900 charges read into the record, ranging from money laundering to possession and sale and distribution of unlawful data and CSAM, child sexual abuse material.
South African retailers could be in for a profitable festive season following a rise in consumer confidence. The Consumer Confidence Index rebounded in the fourth quarter after failing in the third quarter of the year. The latest survey by FNB and Bureau for Economic Research shows that consumers are willing to spend. FNB senior economist Pamandla Mkhwanazi.
There were a number of developments, positive developments that contributed to this relatively positive outcome. The first is that we are in an environment where inflation is stable, food inflation has come down a little bit, from the time of the previous survey.
Mkhwanazi says furniture and care are among items likely to be on the shopping list for the middle-class buyers.
So we're getting all of these goods at a cheaper price. The rand is stronger. Overall affordability is improving. Those developments tend to support sentiment. We do hope that we will see much more of that in the next quarter.
And 12 people have died in a fire that broke out in a residential building in southern China. The blaze at the 4-story building in Shantung, Guangdong province erupted last night. The cause of the fire is unclear at this stage. It comes after a huge blaze last month engulfed several high-rise residential towers in Hong Kong, where 160 people were killed. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng, with showers expected today. The temperatures are at lows of 15 and 17 degrees, peaking at highs between 26 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North between the Elands Interchange and the Kilulis Interchange. Roadworks are taking place there. And there's also queuing traffic reported along the Mike 1 North in the Harton Killarney area. This is between the Killarney Bends and Ethel Oaklands Road. And the accident is causing about a 15-minute hold-up.
The top story this hour, the investigating directorate against corruption says it's making progress in combating tax-related crimes.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Human error seems to account for 9 out of 10 crashes. What is the department doing differently to address this behavioral change and not only focus on enforcement?
What we've picked up is that driver misbehavior remains the challenge of drinking and driving. And then there's the phenomenon of drinking and jaywalking. So we are working with the alcohol industry, amongst others, to say, guys, what further responsibilities and obligations can we bear on you? Secondly is to really make a clarion call. Guys, the usage of cell phones behind the steering wheel. Then the latest phenomenon, which is content creation. Also making a clarion call.
Deputy Minister of Transport, Mkhuleko Hlengwa.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Check in, take your seat, stretch out, sip something special, and feel the holiday mood kick in long before you land. At South African Airways, every moment on board is designed to ease you into that holiday feeling. This summer, fly to Gaborone from 2,694 Rand, all-inclusive return with an allowance of 3 checked bags. You can take everything you need for the perfect escape. This offer is valid for sale until 31 March 2026. Book at flysaa.com or contact your nearest travel agent. At South African Airways, your holiday starts when your flight does.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for butcheries, restaurants, beauty salons, and more. Here's Gert.
I definitely have peace of mind that Business Outsurance is protecting our business. I do think Business Outsurance are the best insurance company out there, and they gave us the best quotes.
Switch to Business Outsurance, and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Sure, your phone's from there. Your kids' toys? Definitely. But your SUV? No thanks. The Mini Countryman from 9,899 Rand per month with Mini Select Finance. Visit mini.co.za to book your test drive. Select offer only available from Mini Financial Services, a division of BMW Financial Services South Africa Pty Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Offer exclusively applies to the Mini Countryman. Initiation and service fee apply. Offer linked to the current prime rate, calculated on a 10% deposit, 48 monthly installments, final GFV payment, and 80,000 kilometer contract limit. Changes to the deal and optional extras will impact finance offer. Offer valid until 31 December, subject to stock availability. T's and C's apply.
702
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Hi Bongani, there is already an app called Family Link, and then instead of monitoring each and every app individually, Family Link monitors the whole phone. And so what it does is that you register your child's device account, Google account, or the phone on Family Link with their age. And then with that, they are not able to download apps or use content that is over their age limit. And then if they try to access those, every time it sends you a notification that your child was trying to access this and this, which is over age limit and so on. Then you have an idea of what your child is into, what they're watching, what they're looking at, and so on. And any app that is over her age, it will not allow her to download and so on.
Good morning, Bongani. You know, banning this social media, it doesn't make sense at all. Firstly, Australia is forcing people to vote. Now they are banning this. You need to just monitor this thing. We are not living in stone ages. And these people who are making these decisions are adults who don't understand what is going on in these today's times. And they themselves have these cell phones. Why don't you ban the companies that make these cell phones? Let's go back to the landlines. Ban social media completely then if you think that this social media is not making any sense. The kids are doing positive things as well in the social media. It's not only negative. It's for us to take responsibility and monitor what they are doing. But to ban them completely, it doesn't make sense at all. And we pretend as if now.
So what happens to a platform like Twitch? Because a lot of youngsters game, and Twitch to some degree, we can call it a social media platform. Does it fall under those regulations, or does it get a bypass? Just thought about that right now. Len from Midrand.
So I was 2 years old when I heard of Twitch.
Yeah. So Twitch, and I stand to be corrected, is a platform where you can watch other people game. And there's some very high profile South Africans on there, and that's how they make their money, and they game through the night. And then what happens is you can chat on the side, and you're chatting, and there's chat bots, so people have access to you. It's the same. Well, it's not the same, but you get things like Roblox. So Roblox is a game that kids play, games within games, etc., etc. So with Roblox, if you register with your correct age and you're under the age of, I think, 18, you can't have access to a microphone on Roblox. So you can't speak to each other. But this all comes down to primarily parents then making sure that the ages that the children have put in the devices, and when you sign your child up for social media, you've put the right age.
Yeah. Look, what was encouraging about what Sarah Hoffman was saying, our interview just after 7 around this, Cindy, she says that there are lots of safeguards being placed into how all of this is going to work in Australia. So, for example, they're not going to just take a child's word for it that they're of a certain age. They'll be tracking what kind of interactions that user has, who they follow, what they're interested in. So in the same way that the algorithm feeds you what you want to see, they'll be able to look at the typical trends of the user and how they're engaged with the various platforms. So even if the kids try to be clever and try to bypass the official rules, they'll still be able to check and see. And presumably then that means there's got to be some onus on the platforms themselves to be able to do that work.
Well, that's exactly right, because we had that voice note earlier. He said, why don't they go after the people who make the app? They have. So in Australia, part of this legislation is that if you are Instagram, Facebook, Meta, whatever, and you get caught accessing children under the age of 16, you can get fined up to 500,000 Australian dollars, which I think is like R1 billion.
I think it's 50 million Australian dollars, which is R1 billion.
Yeah, which is R1 billion.
It's a hefty sum.
It is.
We're not playing around here. Will it work? Would it work here in South Africa? How many bylaws do we struggle to enforce? How many traffic laws do we struggle to enforce? Do you really think that's the kind of thing that would work here, however well intentioned? Let us know your views.
702
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by Outsurance. Your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Today's answer comes from Joseph. Joseph, what is today's answer, please?
Good morning, Mr. Bingwa. Thank you for having me. The answer is debonair.
Debonair is the answer. That's an easy one, Joseph. What debonair is your answer? And tell me, sir, have you had yourself a quote from Outsurance?
Yes, I did, sir. Thank you for having me.
Can I call you a pizza slice?
You did that on the 29th of August in 2022, so don't do it again.
I won't do it again. Joseph, 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. Thank you very much. So that's Joseph's answer, debonair. And no, the question is not about a pizza slice, so don't think that. What's the question? If the answer is debonair, call us now on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
Cindy, I've been dying to know your views on this Mo Salah controversy. I mean, I know we spoke about it a couple of days ago, but now he's not playing and they won without him anyway? Or do you say, hang on a minute, it was just one goal, it was a penalty, they will miss him? What are your thoughts?
It's always a tough one in football, right? He hasn't been having the greatest season. I think this has, in general, been a tough season for Liverpool. I think you can't then just discount the legend that is Mo Salah, the phenomenal talent that he is. I mean, we saw the same thing with Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland had a terrible season last year, but Manchester City didn't kick him out, didn't sideline him, supported him, brought him back. I think Mo Salah also because he didn't really want to stay at Liverpool. They convinced him to stay. He was quite keen to leave. And as he said in that interview, he was promised a whole lot of stuff if he stayed. And it
that
doesn't
hasn't
seem,
come through.
and he doesn't understand why. He doesn't understand why he's being sidelined. He doesn't understand what the manager has
Where's
said.
the fine line between players, particularly, you say a legend? I mean, this isn't somebody who started playing football yesterday. He has a huge following. A huge part of the Liverpool fan base would be his fans too. Does a player speak out and say, I'm frustrated, I'm unhappy, or do they just toe the line? I mean, do other clubs then look at this and go, ooh, he's a bit of a troublemaker? Or does someone say, hang on, he's a professional, he's allowed to talk about his work conditions?
So I don't think he's the first player to speak out, right? Because we had the same thing with Cristiano Ronaldo at Man United, etc. So it's not new to the world of football. It's just swings and roundabouts. Whose turn is it this season to be speaking out against the manager? Whose turn is it to be speaking out the club? I always say there's three sides to every story.
And the truth is somewhere in between.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about that game against Inter.
So they did manage to beat Inter 1-0 last night. Quite luckily, though, because it was a Schlabberschla penalty 2 minutes from the end that got them that win. Here's Boss on a slot.
With only 13 outfield players available with Premier League or Champions League experience. After the blow we had, conceding the 3-3 in extra time against Leeds, where we deserved so much more than to go into this stadium against such a strong Inter Milan team. You couldn't have asked for more if you look at our performance. Again, we hardly gave away a chance.
Barcelona came from a goal down to beat Eintracht 2-1. Coimbra with 2 goals scored 3 minutes apart. Bayern Munich 3-1 win over Sporting, including a goal from 17-year-old Lennart Kohl. Spurs got a 3-0 win over Slavia Prague. Also victory for Olympiacos, AS Monaco, Atletico Madrid and Marseille. Chelsea, who led at halftime, lost to Atlanta 2-1. Chelsea's boss, Enzo Maresca.
Quite upset because I think until the goal we conceded, we were quite good. Then after the goal we conceded, we lost a little bit of control of the game. After the 2-1, we had again 2-3 chances to try to score again. But in this moment, it's like this. We need to, as soon as possible, to win the next one.
There's 2 months to go to the start of the T20 Cricket World Cup, and the Proteas have cause for concern. Last night, they were thrashed by India by 101 runs in the first T20. Sentence about India posted 175 for 6 man of the match. Hardik Pandya unbeaten on 59 from 28. In reply, only 4 Proteas batsmen made double digits. They were 74 all out. While the Proteas women are going for a whitewash series win, they play Ireland in a third T20 in Benoni tonight. All-rounder Nadine de Klerk only has high praise for captain Laura Wolvaardt.
She's probably been in the form of her life, to be honest. She's been exceptional for us, obviously for a long period of time now, but I think probably the last 6 months has really been great for us as a team to have her in the form that she's been in, and I think she obviously had a really good big bash as well. I guess to come back here and still, after playing 4 months straight cricket basically, and to come down here again and dominate the way that she has is exceptional.
In live Test cricket, the West Indies 205 all out after being sent into bat by New Zealand in the second test. Blair Tickner took 4 wickets. In reply, New Zealand 21 without loss. And in rugby, Stormers lock Andre Smith banned for 1 match for stomping in the 26-17 victory over Bayonne in the Champions Cup. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
At Checkers, we do more so you get extra this Christmas with festive savings like Dairy Made Country Fresh Ice Cream, 1.8 litres for $54.99, and Parmalat Cheddar or Gouda Cheese, 850 grams for $109.99. Plus, stand a chance to win your share of 7 million rand in prizes. Simply buy any 3 qualifying products and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060. T&Cs apply.
Every December, it's the same story. New toys, new clothes, and more takeaways. And by January, the bonus is gone. Grow it, don't blow it. With a Nedbank investment. Invest 100,000 Rand or more in a Nedbank 12-month electronic fixed deposit account and stand a chance to win 50,000 Rand. Invest your bonus and grow your future. See money differently. Nedbank. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. SAA now operating 2 flights a day from to and from Gaborone with morning and afternoon departures. Book now at flysaa.com. It's 10 to 8. Why are there delays on the M1 North? Amo?
Bongani, an accident was reported there. It's still there. It's right near Glenhove Road. Delays coming out of the Killarney Bends, and there's about a 15-minute hold up there. If you can, please try to use alternative routes like Oxford Road into areas like Parktown as well as Rosebank. And then if you're traveling on the N3 North, we still have got delays between the Geldenhuys interchange and Modderfontein Road. Roadworks are causing these delays. There's also queuing traffic on the R21 North heading towards the city of Tshwane, just as you approach Olifantsfontein Road, and that's also due to roadworks. I'll have more updates coming up. You stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Check in, take your seat, stretch out, sip something special. Feel the holiday mood kick in. South African Airways, every moment on board is designed to ease you into that holiday feeling. You can fly to Gaborone this summer from 2,694 Rand all-inclusive return, and they'll allow you 3 bags to check in. Offer valid for sale until 31 March 2026. Book now at flysaa.com. At South African Airways, your holiday starts when your flight does.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance. Please tell me what's the question. If the answer is debonaise, let's go to Champagne. Champagne, what's the question?
Which pizza business owned by famous brands was instructed to retract an advert that claimed to be SA's most loved pizza by the Advertising Regulatory Board?
Yes, indeed. So, what is your best pizza? What's your love? What pizza do you most love, Champagne?
It all has to be Debonaise.
So the Advertising Standards Authority got it wrong, hey?
Yeah, they must take it under review.
No matter, Champagne, 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702. So if the Advertising Standards Authority is right, which then is South Africa's most loved pizza, would you say? Which one do you love the most? Or do you think they were wrong? Let us know. Now, you may not get the gift you were hoping for this December, but Outsurance could have some awesome savings or cash you'll definitely love. Get a quote today, and if Outsurance can't beat your car insurance premium, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Make it 1,500 Rand cash if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Get festive savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. A licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
The crazy store's got deals galore and everything you need. From tinsel presents, wrapping, and a star for your Christmas tree. We've got all sorts of games and sports, many toys to buy. Stationery, arts and crafts, come on and don't be shy. No need to panic shop, we're your one-stop Christmas spot. Your table will be dressed and you will not be stressed. When Christmas Eve is here, you'll want to sing and cheer. I got everything at the crazy store and I can't wait for next year.
Hey, you never know what you might find this Christmas.
Running a business can feel like a solo mission. I mean, you've got the hustle. If only your office Wi-Fi was your employee of the month. Turn on your success with Telkom Business, the partner that always shows up. Get a reliable 25 by 25 megabytes per second connection with Stream Connect Fiber for only 489 rands per month.
This summer, your business deserves the best. Visit telkom.co.za/business for deals that connect your business. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
702
702. What's gone viral?
with Kabazela.
Let's catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Burley.
So when you travel overseas, how do you spot a South African?
Yeah, I mean, you can see by the clothing for me generally. And it's always a K-way jacket, right? Those puffer jackets. So the reason we're talking about this is there's this guy that's sitting at the airport and he's looking across at some of the people that are sitting there near him. And he notices that one guy is sitting there in shorts and he has those fellies on. And he says, how to spot a South African overseas. But I mean, in
context, what's a felly? For anyone who doesn't
fellies
know,
are those
Veldskoene.
Veldskoen shoes. Yeah, they're like sort of brownish. You get them in different colors, made out of leather. But I mean, also in fair, those things are now exported overseas. So, there's not just South Africans that are wearing them, by the way. But it was a funny one.
Where do you even buy them? Where do you buy those shoes?
You could get them online. Most, I think, some stores as well. But just go type in Veldskoen and you'll get a whole bunch of websites.
Look at you!
that
look
are
at you
selling them.
pretending you don't know.
I actually don't have a pair, though. I must say I don't. But those who wear them say they are very comfortable. So maybe they're very good when you travel, I suppose. But what other things give South Africans away when you are traveling overseas? You may be walking in the streets of wherever it may be, and you look across, at somebody, and you think, must be one of my fellow South Africans. Because of what?
All right. Listen, I'm a fine one to talk about Veldskoene.
Yeah.
Because I'm a fan of Crocs, so I'll be quiet on that score. Kabazela.
They are comfortable as well, I'll give you that, but
Hugely.
Never leave the home with
They
a pair
can
of
be
Crocs.
a fashion statement, believe me.
Yeah, if you're 16.
Kabazela wants to know what helps you identify fellow South Africans when you are outside of the country. You just look at this person and you know what's that giveaway sign. That's what's gone viral with Kabazela.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Are things better on the M1, Amo?
It is indeed, Bongani, especially if you are leaving Boyson's Road at this particular moment. You only have delays just as you approach the Crown turn-off. But if you're traveling around Killarney as well as Harton, do expect heavier traffic volumes. This is due to that accident we spoke about earlier, right near Glenhove. Delays coming out of the Killarney Bends. About a 20-minute hold up there.
You sure?
Yes, I am sure. Because I'm looking at the
Is it
map
bending?
it is indeed bending over. Stay tuned for more updates.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. You could spend 10 minutes on social media or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 GWMP series, 54-year-old Amos now pays only 1,004 Rand a month. And for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser, 55-year-old Andre pays just 776 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702
702.
Feedback
With Rupfiwa Kone.
All right, we got her name right today. And no surprises. No singing for you. Did you have a good birthday, though, yesterday?
I did. I really did. And you guys made it extra special. So thank you so much.
What feedback do you have?
Well, Bongani, 702 Landers say social media hits teens under 16 at a vulnerable stage when parts of their brain that manage emotions and impulse control and self-esteem are still developing. So constant likes and notifications trigger feel-good chemicals that make apps hard to put down, while comparison and perfect lives online can increase anxiety.
And the pressure to keep up with their neighbors.
You know? The heavy use is linked to higher anxiety, depression, and loneliness. Not because social media is necessarily bad, but because young brains aren't built for non-stop pleasure and algorithms. So it's a good idea that Australia is banning it for teens.
Gosh. Look, we've got to have honest conversations as parents. I do understand that we have a responsibility, but I also worry that a country like ours with so many gaps, whether that's education or access to information and resources, it's not as simple as saying parents do more, because some parents don't even know how to use some of this technology. I mean, I didn't know, for example, just 20 minutes ago about Twitch, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a gamer, first of all. So and my worry is, you'll identify 1 or 2 or 3 platforms, but there'll be new ones. And I just wonder if we're going to send children deeper into the dark web, for example, where there's a whole lot worse that's waiting for them. And those platforms may not be that easy to identify nor find. We'll carry on with this conversation because it is important. Right now, though, it is 8 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Interviews for the next NPA head in the country kick off, and Feroz Kachalia delivers staggering crime numbers in Parliament. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Interviews for the country's top prosecutor post are set to be held in Pretoria today. 3 hopefuls vying for the National Director of Public Prosecution's post will appear before a panel. The successful candidate will succeed Advocate Shamila Batoy, whose term ends next month. Khumuzo Modise reports.
The panel interviewing candidates hoping to head up the NPA include chairpersons of Chapter 9 institutions such as the Human Rights Commission and the Commission for Gender Equality. It will also include the Auditor General, President of the Black Lawyers Association, and a representative of the National Association of Democratic Lawyers. Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubai will chair the interviews and lead the recruitment process. Today, the 3 hopefuls who'll take the hot seat include Western Cape Director of Public Prosecutions Nicolette Bell, her deputy Adrian Mop, and head of the Investigating Directorate Andrea Johnson. They'll all have 2 hours each to face the panel. Khumuzo Modise, Eyewitness News.
Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia says more than 10,000 murder charges were referred for prosecution in the 2024-25 financial year alone. But Kachalia says there are interventions that have been agreed upon to improve the murder detection rate, like focusing on murder cases with forensic leads. Kachalia was responding in a written parliamentary reply about what his department was doing in trying to mitigate the high number of cases that are reported of murder in the country. Babalo Ndenza reports.
According to the latest quarterly crime statistics, murders decreased in South Africa during the first and second quarters of the current financial year. But the stats still show how 63 people are murdered in the country every day, with more than 11,500 murders over the same period. In a written parliamentary reply this week, Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia says 10,074 charges of murder have been referred for prosecution in the last financial year. But Kachalia says there are interventions like the prioritization of murder cases with forensic investigative leads in cooperation with the police's forensic science laboratory. Kachalia also states that there is the enhancement of tracing operations on wanted known suspects as a key element of Operation Shanela 2, which is a weekly high-density operation that is conducted in all high crime station areas countrywide. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
Public Protector Koleka Galega has bemoaned the slow pace of government in strengthening the country's whistleblowing legislation. She says the death of Tembisa Hospital whistleblower Babita Diokaran is an indication on government's collective failure to protect those brave enough to expose wrongdoing. Galega was among those who gathered at Stellenbosch University yesterday to commemorate Diokaran on World Anti-Corruption Day in an inaugural lecture 4 years since she was murdered in front of her home. On Friday night, security specialist Marius van der Merwe died in a similar fashion after testifying anonymously at the Madlanga Commission probing police corruption. Lindsay Dentlinker reports.
Public Protector Koleka Kaleka says it's been 2 years since her office submitted proposals to the Justice Department in response to a discussion document, but still there's been no movement on tightening the law.
There's a need for financial protection. There's a need for security. There's a need for protection of their integrity. There needs to be education and awareness.
Kaleka has backed the calls by civil society groups who also spoke at yesterday's commemorative event for a dedicated whistleblower authority and for corruption recovery funds to be used for this purpose.
Most importantly, we need a redress for those whistleblowers who were identified during the Zondo Commission, because it doesn't inspire confidence to other people who want to blow the whistle because they remain prejudiced.
Kaleka says a cultural shift is also required to stop whistleblowers from being viewed as troublemakers, disloyal employees, or threats to institutional stability. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
And Brazil's parliament has descended into chaos as conservative lawmakers continue to push a law which would reduce the prison sentence of former President Jair Bolsonaro. One lawyer was forcibly removed by police after trying to disrupt proceedings, while footage shows scuffles breaking out as security tries to restore order. Bolsonaro began a 27-year jail term last month for attempting to plot a coup following his 2022 election defeat. His conservative allies in Congress have proposed a law which would reduce sentences for coup-related offences, as well as freeze dozens of Bolsonaro supporters who stormed government buildings shortly after he left office. Gold is trading at $4,213.15 an ounce. The rand is at 17.03 to the dollar, 22.67 to the pound, 19.81 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $61.98 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North between the Elands Interchange and Middelfontein Road. This is due to peak time delays. There's also queuing traffic. In fact, a slight backup really along the M1 North between Empire Road and Glenhove Road. This is due to an earlier accident.
And in your sport, the Proteas women going for a T20 Whitewash Series win over Ireland in Benoni tonight. Last night, the Proteas men's batters failed to step up 74 all out in a 101 loss to India in the first T20. In the Champions League tonight, it's Real Madrid hosting Manchester City. Last night, there was victory for Liverpool, Spurs, Bayern Munich and Barcelona.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: interviews for the country's top prosecutor posts are set to be held in Pretoria today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It is indeed a breakfast with me, Bongani Bingwa. The High Court in Pretoria dismissing that MK Party application to challenge the suspension of Senzo Mchunu as police minister. But of course, the other story is interviews for the next top prosecutor in the land. That begins today. A little earlier, we spoke to Freedom Under Law about one of the names on that shortlist, Menzi Simelane, who's occupied that position before until the Constitutional Court said he wasn't fit for the post. So if he wasn't good enough in 2012, was it? Why would he be good enough today, asks Freedom Under Law. We've also spoken to a social media and parenting expert on the use of social media for children under 16. In Australia, there's a ban that takes effect today. Kids under 16 will no longer be allowed to use these social media applications. Is it all about a nanny state, as Australia is sometimes referred to? Do parents have a responsibility? Think of all the gogos who have to raise their kids. Throw in the phenomenon of sugar daddies. Kids have phones that parents don't even know about. There are platforms that parents don't even know about. And how on earth would we enforce it here in South Africa? Does that mean kids will then use other applications to do all sorts of other things that parents don't want them to do? Does that open up a different space on things like WhatsApp? All of this hidden in plain sight? Let's talk.
Hi, Bongani and the team and the 702 listeners. What Australia is doing regarding the banning of TikTok, it's the same as when years ago our great-grandparents wanted to ban music of the Beatles because it was devil's music, rock and roll, and things like that. Things evolve, and that's what we need to accept. 50 years from now, everyone will be laughing at Australia, saying, oh, look at them. 50 years ago, they tried to ban TikTok. What a stupid decision. Things evolve. We must just make sure that we align and work within those changes.
That's an excellent point. That's really a good point. I mean, I don't know whether we'll be laughing 50 years from now, but I do remember growing up, we were told it was a big thing about records. If you play them back, it's Satanism or it promotes. It was a huge point of contention for parents and children. And kids weren't allowed certain music because it was believed to be the devil's music. That was a huge, huge point of contention. And nobody talks about that today, Muteo. Nobody talks about that. I mean, even lyrics. I remember somebody pointing out, Wake Me Up Before You Go, which is about as vanilla as you can. It was from Wham. They were wearing pink tops and yellow shorts, short shorts in the video. And we didn't see George Michael for who he was at the time. But as a Kalapo, that's a different conversation altogether. But it was right there.
I think
even Wake Me Up Before You Go was a problem.
Great example, but totally different issue for me, because you have predators online that are actually pretending to be 13 and 15-year-olds, waiting to, talk to your kids, and they become best friends only for them to exploit them, basically. It's a totally different story. That.
Where are you in those conversations? Listen, I mean, these social media apps are being fined. I mean, just yesterday, the EU, the European Union, said that X is failing digital regulations, and they fined them something like 120 million euros.
The Commission has issued a fine of 120 million euro to X for breaching the Digital Services Act. This is the first ever fine under the DSA. X has indeed breached its transparency obligation under the DSA. This includes X's blue check mark. It deceives users. Anyone can pay to obtain the verified status, and X does not meaningfully verify who is behind it. It also includes X advertising repository, which does not work properly, and X doesn't provide effective data access for researchers. Failure to comply with the non-compliance decision may lead to periodic penalty payments on top of today's fine.
So the trend of fining platforms for failing to observe regulations is not only from Australia, that at least the fining of platforms when they do so. That's the voice there of Thomas Renier, who is the EU Commission spokesperson. Of course, not about to be left out of that conversation. US President Donald Trump responded when he was asked about Elon Musk and what he is facing in Europe, and he calls Europe weak.
Elon has not called me to ask for help on that one. But no, it's a tough thing. I don't think it's right. No, I don't think it's right. I don't see, how they can do that. No, I'll speak about it later. I'm going to get a full report on it. Look, Europe has to be very careful. You're doing a lot of things. We want to keep Europe. Europe is going in some bad directions. It's very bad for the people. We don't want Europe to change so much. You're going in some very bad directions. That was a big thing.
Europe is weak, says Donald Trump. What are your thoughts on all of this? Let's talk.
Good morning, Bongani. A social media ban wouldn't work in South Africa because you know why? We're good at making laws, but very bad at implementing them. Take the RICA law, for example. People are selling pre-RICA SIM cards on the streets daily, and police walk past them all the time.
Bongani, goeiemorgen man. Floris here from the beautiful Western Cape. Bongi, with regards to social media monitoring to underage kids, the solution is simple. Just get these kids these normal phones where they can just make a call and send a text message. I think that will rule out all these unscrupulous apps that's going to still enable kids to gain access to social media and platforms where they're not supposed to be on. That's my 2 cents worth. Have a great show. Bye-bye.
Thank you for those voice notes. Somebody who is an expert at this and has been studying and following the debate for a number of years is, of course, Toby Shapchak, who joins us now on the line. Toby, you heard us this morning talking about this, and no doubt you've got some views. Where are you on this?
Funny about that, Bongani, yes. I mean, the first view I have is if you listen to Donald Trump speaking, he sounds just like Joe Biden, doesn't he? Cognitively impaired, struggling to make a sentence, rambles off. Anyway,
same
apart
script,
from
different
that,
cast, different cast.
exactly. Yeah. So I heard the 2 young Australian kids earlier this morning talking on you're playing their voices, saying it's our right to democracy. I think there's so many different issues that are confused in here. Firstly, this is not some democratic right. This is not some easy to put into a box concept. It isn't. There's so much more at play here. Firstly, kids' brains don't stop growing till they get to 24. At the age of 16 is probably the earliest, according to the current thinker of this, the person that everybody follows, a man called Jonathan Haidt, H-A-I-D-T. Haidt, maybe is how it's pronounced. And he has written a book called The Anxious Generation, and he is the person that everybody's following in terms of what the best way to introduce smartphones and social media are to kids now that we know all the things that we know. And there's no doubt it's an addiction. I'm addicted, you're addicted. All of us grown-ups are addicted. And what we're trying to do is keep our kids from becoming addicted. And the first thing Jonathan Haidt says is no phones until they're 16 and no social media till they're 16. That doom scrolling will stop the kids' brains growing.
Toby,
full stop.
Toby, here's the difficulty. Firstly, many, particularly the better resourced schools, insist on the use of smart devices as part of the schooling experience. I mean, I was saying earlier, I can't remember the last time I bought a textbook because all of the stuff is now available to the kids digitally. That's the first thing. The second thing is, in South Africa, with as many problems as we have, I mean, we battle to enforce bylaws. We battle to enforce traffic violations. If that kind of thing was, if we do a copy and paste, can we really keep up?
So I'm not going to get to that just yet. First, I want to talk about, if you don't mind, the brain development of children. So now we know that doom scrolling and looking at screens is bad for brain development. Well, we've got another example of that in society. It's called alcohol. There's no way you'd let kids drink freely. The same with drugs. You know that it has an impact on their brain development. You know that it works. Therefore, you can't let them have it. That's the baseline that we should be working from, not can the law be implemented in South Africa where, on Jan Smuts, you can have the pothole that goes over 2 lanes that the president drives past, regularly and does nothing about. That's not the argument. The argument we first have to be having is this good for children's brains? No. Is driving with a seatbelt good for children? No. Is letting them wander the internet filled with predators? I didn't catch who on your show was talking about. It is filled with predators. I want to read you a quote, Bongani, from the Attorney General of New Mexico, a guy called Raul Torres. He sued Facebook in 2023, and he called it, quote, the largest marketplace for predators and pedophiles globally, end quote. I'm going to say that again. Facebook is the largest marketplace for predators and pedophiles globally. You can't expect a 16-year-old or an under 16-year-old to be able to navigate the dangers of drinking alcohol or driving a car on a road, or they're not even allowed to vote. You know, this kid's talking about it's his democratic rights. It may well be, but he's not even allowed to do the first democratic right as an adult, which is vote, until he's 18. So I hear that people participate. I had pen pals overseas. I did all of these things. I know the government can't fix potholes or do things about bylaws. But what's more important than anything else, if you're a grown-up, and especially if you're a parent, I mean, your daughter must be much older than mine now. My son is 8. I'm worried about his brain development. People often say to me, are you worried about TikTok? And I say, no, I'm worried about what comes after TikTok. There's a 10 or 15-year life cycle of social platforms. Facebook, just by sheer scale, hasn't gone away. But if you think about it, all the cool kids, all the cool stuff's happening on TikTok. It's not on Snap. It's not on Insta. And that is the beginning of the most terrible algorithmic choice. You know,
Toby,
yes.
Yeah, I think you make an excellent point, because I think so often people are kind of myopic about this. We look at just social media as almost, is it a right, is it not? We see it perhaps quite often as harmless, but you're saying think about the responsibility you have as a parent towards your child's development. It's not even about the sophistication of these devices. It's just basics. Would you let anything interfere with your child's development, with their brain at a young and vulnerable age, when they can't make those choices for themselves? And perhaps that really is the nub of it. Toby Shabshak, thank you so much for that call.
Let's talk.
We're listening.
Hey, the easiest way to spot South Africans that I've seen when I recently went out of the country was, rightly so, definitely khakis, especially khaki shorts with a K-Way jacket. It's like, starter pack for some people. And I think the Amakusa brand, it's quite distinct. I know 95% of the time it is a South African, more often than not. So those are always the easiest things to spot South Africans.
Can't believe I just heard Bongani saying I'm a fan of Crocs. Never say never. It's true. Bongani used to hate Crocs. He used to hate Crocs. Yeah? He didn't even have any good word to say about Crocs. Today he's a fan of Crocs. I did change. South Africa.
Good morning, Bongani. If you walk down the streets of London or Tel Aviv or even Putrajaya and you hear somebody say, "Can I have a can of Coca-Cola and a hamburger, please?" then you must know, Bongani, that you've met a fellow South Africaner.
The accent, I suppose, is what you're saying. Khaki shorts, the Amaklasa brand. How do you spot a South African if you're outside of the country, Amo?
Definitely for the women, the way they would tie their doek. There's a specific way South Africans do it that other nationals or people don't do it outside of South Africans.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
The doek.
The doek.
Okay. Remember there was a whole controversy about the doek a couple of years ago? Do you remember? Some news channel? But Asika Lapa, Mateo, how do you spot a South African abroad?
I was once spotted because of my walk. I was at the airport.
No.
And there was and it was like, so he was discussing with his mom. He's like, that guy's South African. When he gets here, we'll ask him. And I was walking with my mom as well. And when we got there, he's like, excuse me. In fact, he said Ita, and I responded, and he laughed. And he just, he was floored. And he was like, see, I told you.
And whilst we're at, whilst I'm talking to you, firstly, I've never been anti-Crocs. I don't know what that voice is note is talking about.
I am, though.
It was you,
Yes.
Mateo, who was anti-Crocs.
Because you
I
own
still
one
am.
pair in 3 different colors. In fact, 4 now.
And like Croc boots, which
Yeah. Mhm. There's a whole Croc collection going on in Bongani's house. Just by the way.
And were you wrong about Crocs?
No, I still don't own a pair.
Oh, you don't know what you're missing.
EWN Traffic.
You see, maybe if he did have a pair of Crocs, he wouldn't have that walk, eh? Amo?
That's the problem. That's the problem.
What, who wishes they were driving wearing Crocs in traffic?
Well, Bongani, the people, I'm not sure if they wish they had Crocs on the N3 North.
They have to be comfortable because now they're stuck in traffic.
They can wear other comfortable shoes, yeah. But anyway, delays on the N3 North between Van Buren Road and Linksfield Road. Please be on the lookout there while traveling on the M1 North. A bit of a stop-and-go situation coming out of the Empire Road exit towards Glenhove Road. An accident was causing these delays. And then traveling on the N1 North towards the city of Tshwane, queuing traffic along the route just as you come out of the Baku interchange towards Allendale Road. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Catch up with news from elsewhere in the world. Adam, a very good morning to you. Let's start with the state of emergency in Lithuania.
Yeah, they've got a problem with cross-border balloons. Remember, that caused a lot of ire and angst in the Korean Peninsula. North Korean balloons going over filled with stuff into South Korea. Here we have the Baltic nation declaring a state of emergency because of balloons they have called smuggler balloons that are said to be transporting illegal cigarettes. So obviously these are counterfeit, under the counter, not necessarily meeting the sort of health standards. I know that sounds weird for cigarettes, but Lithuania says it's a problem. It doesn't sound like it should be a problem, but they've described it as a hybrid attack by Belarus, such that the balloons are also being put into airspace that should be a bit more secure. So when you've got balloons drifting across Vilnius airport, which then had to close, you can see why they'd be a bit worried about that. Plus, there are Air Force jets based there as well, who may have been compromised by these balloons drifting over from Belarus. Lithuania, of course, is a NATO member, is right there in the armpit of Russia, and has been a staunch ally of Ukraine since the Russian invasion. So does all that tie in, or is this just some dodgy blokes sending fake fags across the border?
Talking of dodgy blokes, we've spoken about stolen art in Paris, now in Brazil.
And there are certainly parallels, because that Louvre Museum robbery was in broad daylight, and here we have it again. Two guys walked into a library in Sao Paulo in Brazil where there was an exhibition going on, an art exhibition, and amongst those were some engravings by Henri Matisse, the famous Fauvist artist. 13 paintings in all were taken from this library. They simply walked in and took them and walked out, propped them against a wall for a while they worked the getaway out, and then made off with them. It was extraordinary. They apparently were armed, though, in the course of this. As with the Louvre, there were quick arrests, but only one of the precious jewels was recovered, only one of the artworks, as it were. In this case, none of the artwork has been found yet, but they have made one arrest, and according to Brazilian police, they've identified the other suspect in all of this, who is now on the run. It just sounds way too easy. Is it true the world over, museums just don't have the money for good security? And look what can happen.
And of course, they hold really, really valuable artworks, don't they? We've been debating it all morning. And no doubt people around the world, radio stations like ours are too. Australia's social media ban.
Yeah, is it going to work? And also, how would they judge if it's a success? I'm not sure you can you? The Australian Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, has said parents have taken back control. So this world first, 5 million children and teenagers are affected in Australia, although to be honest, it's mainly the 10 to 15-year-olds who've lost their access to social media. And that's 1 million or so Aussie 10 to 15-year-olds. Would it work in the UK? Would it work in South Africa? We're all looking at it thinking, what would happen if anyone breaks this ban, by the way, it's not the kids or their parents who face the fines, it's the companies themselves. So they have to police themselves, which is probably quite a good thing in the social media world. Yeah, absolutely. Take responsibility, whatever the law says. And they could be fined up to 50 million Australian dollars, 560 million rand, more or less. Will it work? There are certainly one or two voices, like, for instance, some disabled teenagers in Australia saying this will isolate them. This will cut off a vital lifeline to support and help, and a social life, quite frankly. But, it's a bold move. We watch with interest.
Indeed, the whole world is looking at this to see if there are any lessons that can be learned. Adam Gilchrist with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
Muteo, let's talk about the Financial Sector Conduct Authority slapping a trading platform with a hefty fine, 28 after 8.
Yeah, South African trading platform Bankzo and its directors have been hit by an administrative penalty of 2 billion rand from the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, or the FSCA. The regulator's extensive investigation into Bankzo over the course of more than a year found that the company and its key partners misappropriated client funds. Hundreds and possibly thousands of people lost large sums of money after investing in Bankzo. The online trading company's trading license also remained suspended. The company had been under fire for benefiting from deep fake ads featuring billionaires Elon Musk, Johann Rupert and Nicky Oppenheimer. Some investors who clicked on the ads have reported having losses totaling millions of rands. Bankzo appeared to be profiting from the deepfake adverts, which promised profits of 300,000 rand from an investment of 4,700. Bankzo's chief operating officer, Manuel DeAndre, has stated that the company has no connection to the adverts, claiming it was a victim of hacking. Now, in addition to the above fines, the FSCA has also fined the director 20 million rand, while two other key individuals, Mohammed Bucks and Henry James Simpson, have been fined 10 million rand and 5 million rand respectively. All three debarred for 30 years. The FSCA taking that very, very seriously. A lot of people losing their money, and some of them not even sure if they'll get it back.
Yeah, not likely though. 20 million rand. He has been fined, DeAndre. Wow, that's an extraordinary amount. South African consumers feeling a little bullish?
Yeah, according to the latest FNB BR consumer confidence, sentiment has rebounded in South Africa in the fourth quarter of 2025, the highest reading of negative 9 index points. All three sub-indices of the Consumer Confidence Index improved. Durable goods buying went up, the economic outlook also rising, and household finances also going up during the period. Lower interest rates and a stronger rand exchange rate are making durable goods more affordable in the market.
Where's the rand?
17.04 against the US dollar, 19 rand 81 against the euro, and at 22 rand 66 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,209 an ounce, or platinum it's at $1,673. Brent crude at $62.02 a barrel. More business, of course, later this afternoon with Stephen Grotes.
Let's go to the Eyewitness News Desk. Don't forget, a conversation coming up. Joburg Zoo transforming into a holiday wonderland. We'll be talking about the Festival of Lights. In the meantime, over to you, Sfiso Zulu.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. The Investigating Directorate Against Corruption says it's making progress in combating tax-related crimes and corruption in public procurement. IDEC, SARS and other law enforcement agencies have secured a conviction for a company director facing corruption charges relating to 3.6 million rands worth of tax fraud. Director of Grey Apple Trading Enterprise, Tsepo Khoza, has been sentenced to 6 years direct imprisonment with 2 years suspended. Khoza's conviction follows extensive investigations which uncovered dodgy tenders from the SAPS. IDEC spokesperson Henry Mamotame says the tenders were awarded due to Khoza's family relationship with a senior police official.
Khoza failed to declare his company income tax, claiming that his company was dormant between 2015 and 2018, which in actual fact was a period in which he was awarded tenders by a senior official within the South African Police Service. The two, together with one more accused who is also related to them, are facing corruption charges in a separate matter, which is set to resume on 2 February 2026.
The Agricultural Business Chamber has again raised concerns about what it's labelled a poor coordination among some countries in the Southern African Customs Union. This follows Botswana's decision to reintroduce import bans on key vegetables due to their relatively high local production and availability. Nokayam Dambo takes a look.
Agba's chief economist Wandile Slobo says implementing bans on agricultural products on short notice with limited communication to other countries has become a worrying trend. Slobo says this raises questions about regional trade integration and policy coordination.
So for our economic diplomacy thinking, we are now running into a lot of friction here, which is why I always argue that SACU needs to be reviewed, both for easing our trade agreement, but also for easing up the friction that we currently see, so that the South African businesses can plan well on what to do in this.
While he admits there's a need to support local farmers and reduce their dependence on South Africa, Slobo says he's uneasy with the drastic policy changes with minimal consideration for regional ambitions. He says South Africa's response will need to be sensitive but firm. Nogukanyam Dambo, Eyewitness News.
And more than 500,000 people have fled their homes to safety in Thailand and Cambodia since the start of a reignited border conflict. Thailand's defense ministry says civilians had to evacuate in large numbers due to an imminent threat to their safety. Thailand and Cambodia dispute the colonial-era demarcation of their 800-kilometer frontier, where competing claims to historic temples can spill over into armed conflict. At least 10 soldiers and civilians have been killed on both sides in the latest spate of fighting. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng, with showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 26 and 28 degrees.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 South heading towards Midrand between Summerend Road and the Olifantsfontein Road exit. There's also queuing traffic along the N12 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange.
The top story this hour, the investigating Directorate Against Corruption says it's making progress in combating tax-related crimes and corruption in public procurement.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
Is there anything prohibiting him from being NDPP?
At this point, no, and I think that's the issue. Like the JSA's application essentially says he's not fit and proper, but he hasn't been struck from the role yet. The Constitutional Court said that Jacob Zuma was irrational to not have considered the Janwala findings against Menzies Simelane at the time that he made that appointment, but it didn't say in so many words that he was unfit. It just said that there were serious red flags raised in the Janwala inquiry.
Karen Morn.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Last December, you put in new floors. Come New Year's, your visitors were out the door. And the new floor went from fresh tiles to don't step on a crack or you'll break umama's back. Now, abantu bazothini when they see the kids playing the Squid Game's hopscotch on those same cracked tiles from last year. Avoid the embarrassment this festive. Make smarter decisions for your home. Visit Cash Build for quality tiles, adhesive and tools at the lowest prices. Cash Build.
Hi, this is Carol Shabalala, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. It's more fun when it's for fun. Playing responsibly is always a winning strategy. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for optometrists, surgeons, and other medical specialists. Here's Chrissy.
Business Outsurance is the best insurer for my business. They have great premiums, wonderful service. I know without a doubt that Outsurance has my back, and you always get something out with Outsurance.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. 702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongani. There's a nice pizza place in Parkhurst. It's called Espresso and Bistro. If you happen to be there, you go there, you don't like the pizza, please call me. I'll pay you double. I'll back that money. That's how much I trust Espresso. Their pizza is the nicest.
Good morning, Bonks and the team, 702 Land Motel. There's a restaurant outlet called Tomato. It's usually found in the Ekurhuleni area. I'm not sure about other parts of Joburg. But Tomato for me makes the best pizza. If you're looking for something scrumptious, something tasty and delicious, Tomato restaurant is it for you. Joel from Kempton Park. Have a splendid Wednesday.
You guys are making me hungry this morning already. My favorite pizza I ever had was the Domino's pizza. There's just something they smeared over the crust that added that extra flavor. Yeah, the Domino's margarita pizza with extra marinara sauce. Best you could ever have.
Good morning, guys. Good morning, breakfast team. My absolute favorite is Roman's pizza, followed by Rebel's pizza. So yeah, those are my winners. Thank you. KK in Cape Town.
We're talking about all of this, of course, because Debonair's has long claimed to be South Africa's best-loved pizza. The Advertising Standards Authority says, hang on, you can't make that claim. So they've been fined for that byline. So we're asking you, who's right, who's wrong? What's your favorite pizza?
EWN Sport.
Cindy, gonna put your neck on the line?
So our family's now become pizza snobs because we've got a pizza oven, and
yes,
that was the Christmas gift
yeah.
at the end of last year. And to be honest,
is it one of those mobile ones? Or did you build one?
No, it is actually, it is mobile. It is mobile, but it uses wood and it uses fire and everything. It's not electric. And it's now we actually don't like eating pizza anywhere else now. Now when we go somewhere, we'll have their pasta, but we won't have their pizza because my husband makes possibly the best pizza in Joburg. And the secret to a good pizza is actually no toppings. It's actually just a straight up margarita.
So for my 50th, I got all my friends and everybody who wanted to give me a gift to get me a Yappy Chef voucher.
Yes.
And I bought myself a pizza oven from Yappy Chef because this was like my next big thing.
Yeah.
Ask me how many times I've used it.
Have you not used it at all?
I have used it. I have used it, but less than 5 times.
Why?
Because it's just
so easy.
It's the
easiest thing.
Yeah. Maybe you're reminding me to use my pizza oven this holiday. All right, Cindy, let's talk sport. Proteas women.
Yep, going for a whitewash series win. They're playing Ireland in the third T20 in Benoni tonight. All-rounder Nadine de Klerk.
We really want to start dominating world cricket, and I know we haven't had probably the best time in bilateral series before this one, and I think it was our first series win at home since 2021, I think. So I guess to come out here after the World Cup and really put up a dominant performance is what we were after, and it's great to see that different people have been putting their hands up and that we've really put Ireland under pressure. But series one, obviously, but there's still one massive game, and I think we still want to dominate that last game as well.
Match starts at 6 p.m. Proteas men lost to India by a massive 101 runs in the first of 5 T20s. Hardik Pandya smashing 59 from 28 as India posted 175 for 6. In reply, the Proteas 74 all out, only 4 batsmen making double digits. Batting coach Ashwell Prince.
I thought the pitch was good. Not every pitch that you bat on is supposed to be a 220 pitch. You know, they had to work hard, India, for the first part of their innings. And obviously Hardik came in and played a brilliant knock to give them a competitive score. I don't think in any cricket match you can decide at the halfway stage if you have a winning score, but what you can do is put up a competitive score, and obviously it turned out to be enough.
The second T20 is tomorrow. In live test cricket, New Zealand 24 without loss in reply to the West Indies 205 all out on day one of the second test. Tickner took 4 wickets but was taken to hospital after badly injuring his shoulder while fielding. In the Champions League, Barcelona came from a goal down to beat Eintracht 2-1. Bayern Munich with a 3-1 win over Sporting. Spurs cruised to a 3-0 win over Slavia Prague. Liverpool left it until the closing minutes to beat Inter Milan 1-0 thanks to a penalty from Szoboszlai. Chelsea lost Atlanta 2-1 after leading at half-time. Tonight, the big game, Real Madrid are hosting Manchester City. And in rugby, Stormers lock Andre Smith is banned for 1 match for stomping on another player. This in the Champions Cup win over Bayonne. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
Some moments only come around once, like the Audi year-end sale. Get the Audi A1 from $6,999 per month with no deposit, a 90-day payment break, so you only start paying next year. Plus, a guaranteed buyback. There's limited time to show up, but unlimited time to stand out in the Audi A1. Visit audi.co.za or your nearest Audi dealer before the 24th of December. T's and C's apply.
Last December, you put in new floors. Come New Year's, your visitors were out the door. And the new floor went from fresh tiles to don't step on a crack or you'll break Umama's back. Now, abantu bazothini when they see the kids playing the Squid Game's hopscotch on those same cracked tiles from last year? Avoid the embarrassment this festive. Make smarter decisions for your home. Visit Cash Build for quality tiles, adhesive and tools at the lowest prices. Cash Build.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
EWN Traffic.
17 to 9. Let's wrap up the morning's traffic. A busy one. Amo?
Indeed, Bongani, especially due to those earlier accidents we spoke about earlier on. But right now, we've got delays on the R21 North heading towards the city of Tshwane. Roadworks are causing these delays. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North between Van Buren Road and Modderfontein Road, as well as on the M1 South already between Marlborough Drive and Apple Oaklands Road. That's due to roadworks along this route. And then traveling on the northerly direction, do expect delays coming out of Glenhove towards Apple Oaklands. This is now due to another accident reported there. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This festive season, receive the gift of instant payment when you sell to We Buy Cars. Simply complete the form on webuycars.co.za for your offer. Then visit your nearest pod or branch, or have them come to you. Wishing for a new ride? Discover thousands of affordable vehicles online or at any We Buy Cars branch. We Buy Cars, the jolliest way to buy or sell.
Naked people smell expensive because naked people spend less money on insurance premiums and more money on fancy French colognes. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Hi, Mateo. Listen, it's me, Teddy. About the pizza, there is a spot here in Germiston at airport. There is a restaurant inside the airport. Please let everybody to go and taste the pizza. If there is somebody who actually, let's say one of my friends from Cape Town, Durban, I always take my friends there. And I think the bonus pizza is a hamba emuva put. Angeke lunge lapha. Hambo lapha in restaurant airport, Germiston airport, ungene phakathi ofuna pizza ama list. I have a friend from Brazil. He never eat any pizza anywhere. He liked that pizza. Thank you.
If nothing else, what is clear is how much South Africans love their pizzas. Right? South Africans absolutely love their pizzas. Muteo Hwaripe, of course, talking about that South African pizza a little earlier on. It's called Harvard Cafe, located at the Rand Airport. I'm being dragged for loving Crocs. For loving Crocs.
Mm-hmm. Because there's a listener who said that you don't...
No, he was wrong. He was talking
wrong.
about Muteo.
Okay.
Muteo was the one.
Who said?
I've just posted on my Instagram my Crocs.
Are those Crocs?
Those are Crocs.
Are they
How
boots
cool are they?
Crocs?
They're boot Crocs. Clement Manyatela. How cool are they?
They're not.
They're not. And he's got
terrible.
this pair. Please go on to Instagram and check Bongani's profile.
They
He's
are
posted,
awesome.
His Crocs there, matching with his yellow
don't know
top.
fashion.
He's got a pair in black, in beige, and in yellow.
pairs?
Yes, I'm so bored.
Clement is very stylish. I won't take
He
that away
is,
from him.
absolutely.
So please don't get me wrong. He's very stylish.
And also by fashion.
I'd say be fashion. There's a big difference between being stylish.
What a joke, my darling.
What's
coming up
On the Clement Manyatela Show.
on 702?
What stylish things are you bringing us on the show this morning?
On the
Oh,
show
come on.
today.
Look at them. Go to my Insta and look at them.
Amu just showed me and I was
No,
devastated.
you need to look properly. You
Oh
need new
my God.
glasses.
Okay, I'll try look again. So on the 702
Go to
open
Specsavers.
on the 702, now we know what to get you for Christmas, eh? A pink pair, a blue pair.
No, actually, I sent my children these it's a pink pair of Adidas shoes that I want them to get. I said, in case you are confused, this is the Christmas gift.
The style guide.
Yes.
Okay. On the 702 open line today, we're going to talk about the ANC's renewal program, which has been spoken about at the NGC.
Did you hear Mahlengo?
Yes, I did.
They wouldn't be so broke if they were corrupt.
If they were corrupt, right? And then we're also going to talk about the interviews that are starting today for the job of the National Director of Public Prosecutions. But at 10 o'clock, we're going to be in conversation with Vusumzi Ngande, who's the author of Journey Kwantu, Exploring African Spirituality and Identity. I read the book, and I think it's so insightful. It's not just an academic exploration. It's so personal. It's so practical. And I think the listeners will really enjoy his journey. That's between 10 and 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do our Listener's Choice feature. We'll be talking about scams you need to be aware of during the festive season. And then we wrap up the show at 11:30 with the sharing space. Do you know what we're talking about today? Let me ask you this question. If there's a special place you share with a partner, right? Whether it's a holiday destination, a specific restaurant, and then you break up, your wife, your husband, your partner, would you then go back to that place with the new
Someone
person?
new?
Yeah.
All right, we'll find
Or will
out
you
in the
respect that
sharing
space?
space between 9 and 12. Next week, of course, we'll be sharing about colleagues who disagree with your style choices. Clement Manyatela between 9 and 12.
You could spend 10 minutes trying to fix the office printer or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For her 2025 Hyundai Exter, 65-year-old Helena now pays only 398 Rand a month. And for her 2024 Haval H6 4x4, 50-year-old Priya pays just 1,178 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Fly Safair is flying into summer, and so should you, with 175 daily flights to 15 sun-soaked destinations. Early bird, midday meanderer, or night owl. Whatever your travel style is, with more flights, more often, to more places, you can start your holiday whenever it suits you. From seaside chills to mountain thrills, it's time to pick your favorite holiday hotspot and go. Book now at flysafair.co.za. Fly Safair, for the love of flying. T's and C's apply. This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
10 minutes before 9 o'clock. Joburg, the festive season is here. And there's no better indicator, really, than the Festival of Lights that transforms the Joburg Zoo into a glowing wonderland. So that annual Festival of Lights opened on Saturday, 29 November. And it's running every Thursday to Sunday, 7 to 10 p.m., right through to the 4th of January. If you're looking for something special, go to the Joburg Zoo on Jan Smuts Avenue. It's a shimmering playground of color and light. But there's more. It's more than just the lights. There's that night market, street food, sweet treats, handcrafted gifts. If you're looking for a family outing during one of the weekday evenings between Thursdays and Sunday, or even on the weekends, this is the place to go. Jenny Moodley is a spokesperson for Joburg City Parks and Zoo and joins us now on the line. Always a pleasure to chat to you, Jenny. Take us inside the festival. What do visitors get from the moment they arrive? What can they expect?
Absolutely, and thank you again for hosting Johannesburg City Parks and, of course, the theatre. As soon as visitors arrive at the Joburg Zoo, they're welcomed by a festive, family-friendly atmosphere. It signals the start of the holidays, of course. There's the festive music, which sets the tone. Visitors walk through the illuminated tunnel. We've got the animal theme lighting. And as you indicated, there's a crafts market, a number of food vendors. We've also have quite an interesting lineup, and it's interesting to see how, as the event progresses, families come along, there's a sing-along, and it's just all about happy, enjoyable evenings with your loved ones.
Now, if you've been there before, you might know what to expect, but I would imagine as curators every year, you've got to have something even for those who've seen it before.
That's quite right. We on the main stage, we have a number of activations. This could include dance. It's got DJs. It's got music. In terms of the Salvation Army is present. So we have a number of activities on the stage. But more importantly, people come out just to enjoy the safety of the zoo, the lights, of course, and they bring out very often we see picnic baskets out there. So the seasonal highlights, besides the Festival of Lights, includes a number of other activations across the city. And as you would have heard, City Power has also lit up parts of the inner city, very entry-level lighting, but it's a huge start for the city of Joburg in terms of its revival.
You also have, of course, these giant illuminated sculptures. Tell me about those.
Yes, so we identified that, bearing in mind we're in a zoo, that the ideal theme should be around animal, and of course we use that as part of our fostering environmental education and so on. So these lights stay all the way into the new year, and residents love it. We see a lot of photos on our social media pages post the event, with families together, with the lighting in the background. So again, we remind residents, take maximum opportunity while you're at the zoo, but please respect the natural and cultural heritage. There are some safety guidance, but help protect the zoo and refrain from littering. So we use that as part of our education drive as well, in terms of utilizing public open spaces. So these are just small little activations around the zoo as well, where you'll find children getting their faces painted, and it's all just about happy families.
And of course, I mean, it's not just, as you say, seeing the lights. There's a lot to do. There's entertainment, and there's also the night market.
That's correct. Very interesting, with all the arts and crafts on display and on offer. It's very much part of the city's mandate to empower these small, medium and micro enterprises. So here's an opportunity to support small business and to just make sure that we bring festive cheer, not just for our loved ones, but to extend that in terms of supporting these vendors. There's lots of food vendors, so you could have a variety on offer, from a quick hot dog all the way to a full-on meal. And we see that quite often we are finding that when we have lovely weather, of course we're dependent on clear skies, and we find that our food often gets sold out. So interesting to see the numbers that are coming out. People are looking for affordability, and that's what the Joburg Zoo is all about and is offering. Similarly with the city's parks, we've got a whole lot of festive offerings, and you could use a number of parks. You could enjoy anything from a picnic over the festive season all the way to canoeing on the Emerentia, or just gymming in parks from Diepsloot to Dresik. There's just a number of free activities. So we're saying to families out there, there's no excuse to stay indoors.
Yeah.
We're saying, waza outside, Josie. The holidays have begun in the city of Joburg.
Was the outside. I like that, Jenny Woodley. Children under 3, I understand, enter free. The Festival of Lights specifically is Thursday to Sunday from 7 p.m. until 10 at night. There are live performances. Tickets cost only 175 Rand. Where can people get them?
Well, at the gate, you could also call us on 011 646 2000. And we'll be able to support that. Web Ticket is facilitating this on behalf of the theatre. And again, we thank the Joburg Theatre for offering us this opportunity in terms of this partnership, this annual partnership, which has only grown in leaps and bounds. And we want to thank all the partners that brought Christmas cheer to the city of Joburg.
All right, Jenny Woodley is the spokesperson for the Johannesburg City Parks and Zoo.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
Morning, Bongani and team. I think parenting has changed for up until where we are now. Parenting is very, very different. And I think rights have made things, there's too much rights, man, in this country has made things difficult, and it has made parents it has made it not easy for the parents
All right.
to
I think we get the voice note, but I think that sound in the back just not working for us. You're worried that there are just too many rights and parents aren't doing what they're supposed to, I think is the gist of what you're saying. Renee, you're in Ridgeway. We're talking about favorite. Hi, we're talking about favorite pizza spots. Oh, who's the dog? Who's your furry friend in the back?
My little bodyguard. Yeah.
Wonder what his or her favorite pizza is, hey?
Gino's in Robertson.
Gino's. Now, what makes that one
the
special?
Best. Oh, that's just such good value for money. It's a family concern. They've also got a branch in, which his brother runs in Stellenbosch, and they have a full menu. All sorts of dishes, but their pizzas are superb and very, very reasonable.
All right, Gino's in Robertsham, says Renee in Ridgeway. And you can betcha her furry friend is barking in agreement there in the background. Having a little bit of fun with this one.
Yeah, Bongani, morning. I think when it comes to pizza, there's a place there in Harties. Just at the shopping center there, La Montega. I think it's the name, and yeah, they're always busy, and I'm always there as I pass by. They really go all out when it comes to toppings. They really fill it up. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody's passing. I think that's your stop, eh? Just at the shopping center where the Spa is.
In Harties. So is it about the topping, or is it about the base? Cindy says, actually keep it simple. It's all about the margarita. It's all about the quality of the base. And if you get that right, she says, you're on your way. Other voice notes are suggesting it's all about the toppings. And really, pizza is a pizza. And the thing that makes it different are the toppings and the sauces that you put on top. What makes a pizza great?
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
Right, that comes to the end of this edition of 702 Breakfast. We've had a fantastic show. Thank you so much for all the voice notes, the phone calls, and the interaction. Just to wrap up the show, of course, you may remember we spoke to Freedom Under Law and their objections to one of the candidates due to be in line for the position of National Director of Public Prosecutions. As you heard, Clement Manyatela will carry on that conversation in the open line. So if you want to weigh in on that, you certainly are free to do so. Most of our conversation this morning on Breakfast has been about social media usage and youngsters. So you can carry on with that other conversation we were having in the open line with Clement Manyatela show, which begins right now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I am Sfiso Zulu. Interviews for the country's top prosecutor post are set to be held in Pretoria today. 3 hopefuls vying for the National Director of Public Prosecutions post will appear before a panel. The successful candidate will succeed Advocate Shamila Batoy, whose term ends next month. Khomotso Modise has more.